Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get some. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. I am Speculator Seth. This is Live Day Trading with Speculator Seth, and this is just a fun little live stream where we all kind of try and figure out how to trade futures together. But today we are once again limit down. This is what it looks like. I can't even center my DOM at this point because no orders are going through. They could go through. They're not halted, but the equity futures are limit down, which means that we get a little bit of time this morning to have a serious discussion. And I do want to have a serious discussion. Really quick here, just looking at the charts. Here's the ZB. ZB moved down almost 10 points yesterday and another dip down overnight. ES. Oh man, this chart is just so wild, but down at the overnight limit. They did move up. They were actually maybe kind of pushing the 5% limit up, but they're just down. So what I want to talk about. Now, first of all, let me just put this out here, right? I don't think that I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm certainly not the most experienced person. I am just some random guy that is trying to learn how to trade futures and is dumb enough to stream it. Okay, but it seems to me that this is not the way it's supposed to work. It seems to me, guys, sorry. It seems to me that this is not what was intended, and we need to fix it. So let's talk about a couple of the issues that we're having right now, right? This limit down overnight thing is not working. So what happens is if we go down to the 5% limit, you can no longer sell below that 5% limit. They don't halt the futures. They can keep going, but they do not stop it. So if you are long and you are, and we are now down at the 5% limit, you cannot get out. There's no way for you to get out. You are stuck in your position. This then gives the sellers incentive to stack on the offer in the hopes that when we open again, or when they increase the limit, that we will get a push down to the 7% limit. And then after the 7% limit is triggered, we get a push down below that, and they're having a hard time getting to 13%, but you get a lot out of that. And then the market will snap back. And so if you're a seller, you get a situation where you can take, even if you just sold right at the limit, you could potentially make 5%. And I do not believe that that was what was intended with these limits. It does appear that after the 7% limit is triggered and halted and everything like that, that when we start again, we usually get a bounce. So my thought on this is that, first of all, if there is a hit to the 5% limit, that the 7% limit should be moved. It should be further away, because the 2% apparently is like way too easy for them to push down to. And for the sellers, it's like a free 2% that we're giving them. And it's completely against what the intention of the circuit breakers were. It is dysfunctional. In my opinion, it is dysfunctional. Yesterday, Jim Cramer on CNBC said, like, don't even look at the futures overnight. They're just a complete joke right now. And I would have to agree with him with the way that we're hitting the 5% limit like almost every day now. It is just not the way that this was supposed to go. The next thing here that I want to talk about is the liquidity is just ridiculous. In the 10-year treasury, we're still only putting up, 120 to 200 contracts at any price level, when a bad liquidity used to be 2,000 contracts at any one level. This is a real problem. And I really don't think that the markets can make any kind of real meaningful recovery with the liquidity this low. I think that we need to do something about the liquidity. Now, this is kind of a weird question, because what do you do about it? Well, I mean, one thing would maybe be fixing some of the volatility. I don't know how you do that. But one other option that would be very, very drastic, and I know that this would not be necessarily good for our clients. I think of them as our clients, which are the people that are trying to hedge, because this would probably increase the amount of money required to hedge. But I think that we should maybe think about resizing the instruments. So that would mean, right now an ES, it's like $12.50 per point. Let's make the ES what the micros are, and make the micros nanos, essentially. But size everything down, and even in the treasuries, because the treasuries, the liquidity is just awful. That way we can actually get some real money, some real size put up on the DOM, and more retail traders will be able to trade it, and we can actually find some market liquidity, and there can be some money to absorb some of these moves, because otherwise I think that we're just going to trade everywhere, any which way that the robots decide to take us, and it's just going to be complete chaos. And that's what it has been, is complete chaos. I was reading this note from John Grady yesterday. He was saying that he saw some people that they had lost money in their retirement accounts, and so they were trying to come over to futures or options and then try and YOLO their way back or something like that. I really would not recommend playing these markets. I kind of feel bad, because I've done a lot of fun stuff on Sim, and we were just kind of trying to have a good time, and I wouldn't necessarily, we had some good trades, but I wouldn't consider them all what is the word, effective or safe trading. They were just for fun. So I kind of feel bad maybe setting a bad example, but I really would not recommend trading these markets live right now. It moves too fast, too far for a retail trader to react and trade. And it's just absolutely crazy. I also think part of the problem here is that all of the market liquidity was being placed by robots. Everybody that was like a proprietary trader kind of got pushed out of the market by the robots. They couldn't compete with the robots. And then it was a good thing. And I was totally with them, yeah, it is good to have a lot of liquidity, and you can get filled at the price that you want. And treasuries were a good trade, because you had time to think and sit and look at it. But that is not what is happening anymore. If they're going to push everybody else out of the market and take the money from all of the other market makers, push us out of the market, the robots shouldn't be able to just completely disappear when we actually need them. If a professional trader or firm is putting a certain amount of size on the DOM every day, they should be required to continue to put that up. And yeah, that means that they're going to have to rethink some of their strategies. And when we're going down, it's going to really, really hurt. And so maybe they should be careful about what they're doing in the good times, because their strategy should be able to survive the bad times too. But I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, at least. And of course, if you guys in chat have good ideas, I'm totally all ears. All right. And I think that's it on the futures for now. Maybe if there's some other stuff, but those were the main things that I wanted to talk about. We've got to fix the circuit breakers, and we've got to do something about the liquidity. But now there's another issue that I think we need to talk about, and that is that guys, 30-year bonds are not supposed to drop 10 points in a day. I don't think that they were dropping 10 points in a day because they thought, oh, everything's so great and the Federal Reserve is going to have to raise interest rates because, the market is going to come back so hard. All this, because they're down, but is the ES up? No. The ES is just a complete disaster right now. So what's going on? Well, I believe, at least the leading theory that I have right now, is that the government is talking about a $1 trillion stimulus. $1 trillion is a lot, guys. Like, think about that, okay? That's like, what, $10,000 per person? That is a huge increase to the deficit. $1 trillion, yeah, that's a lot of government debt that they're going to issue and that is going to hit the market. And so they are already front running it. And I believe that that is why the treasuries are down. In other words, the bond vigilantes are at work, or what we call the bond vigilantes. We call them that because they are pushing up rates on the government when the government is looking to increase their government debt and spending. And it is kind of a check on government spending. It's maybe the only one that we actually have. So I don't completely know if that's why. But it seems like a pretty good, the only theory that I can see. And if that is the case, then I think that we need to rethink this stimulus because, man, I really am not so sure that $1 trillion stimulus is going to help very much if it makes interest rates skyrocket, right? If interest rates are pushed back up, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of everything, doesn't it? Because we really need those interest rates to be low right now. Because people need to bridge this gap while they literally cannot work. Many businesses literally cannot work. You cannot be open. All across, like literally everyone. It's a completely unprecedented situation. They are going to need some way to bridge that. Zero interest loans is one way, and we need to keep the interest rates low. But I think that we need to admit to ourselves that we have reached a unique point in economic history, and that we have no fucking clue what to do. I'll tell you one thing, the politicians definitely do not know. They are literally just throwing money at the wall and hoping that they get reelected. That's what it looks like to me, and I'm not talking about Donald Trump, I'm talking about all of them. They look absolutely panicked. And this plan, this stimulus, I'm not so sure how well thought it out it is. I am afraid that we take out $1 trillion in stimulus and it just goes down the toilet. Because honestly, if we go, 3 months like this, and then it's not going to create demand necessarily, it's just going to keep everybody from getting kicked out of their houses for 3 months, then we're still in a recession/depression. That's not going to stimulate the economy. It's not really a stimulus at that point, is it? So you're kind of in the same situation that we are. Excuse me. So basically, you're at the same spot that we are today, except for that you have $1 trillion more in debt on the balance sheet and any of the impacts that has on the currency. So I think that we all need to have a much more serious discussion about this stimulus and what would actually work and what would actually not. Because, man, I mean, look, I'm totally always in favor of bailouts. I understand that if you don't bail them out, then the game ends, and that means everything ends, and we don't want that. So, like the airline industry, I really don't think that we should let the airline industry fail. But if we're going to bail them out, it should be done right. You can't just throw them money. It needs to be done right. And it's a really tough political situation because nobody was in favor of the bailouts before, and they're certainly not going to be in favor of bailouts for airline industries because everybody hates the airline industry when you get, shoved in there like a sardine can. It's it's going to be a tough thing for them politically. I really don't know how it's going to work out. But in the meantime, the market is just going to be seesawing back and forth based on what they say in Congress, and that's not really terribly healthy. Bunch of people just gonna lose a ton of money for no reason. I honestly think at this point that we might need to think about shutting it down for a few days. I really think that at some point it's going to come to that if they don't do something soon about this dysfunctional market, because this is not the way that markets are supposed to work. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts on the matter at the moment. Got a couple of comments here, so let's just cover that. And Gakumi, what are you trading? Well, I've only been taking sim orders, but I've been taking orders in both the micro ES futures and the 10-year Treasury futures CN. So I really like 10-year Treasury futures, but they've, a lot of the things that I normally do haven't been working very well over there. I've been able to kind of get stuff going in ES by just letting the runners run, but even that's kind of questionable. But they're sim orders. I wouldn't trade this live. Yeah. Michael Pledger says, since the market is crashing, that means bonds should be up. That's right. So bonds moving down as much as they did yesterday is really crazy. The key is to do whatever the politicians will stay rich, then leave, and then the poor and middle class is always someone else's problem. Always like this. Yeah, but except for that. And then the issue here is, well, there is the airline industry, but really the people that are going to need to be bailed out here are everyday people. That's definitely the case. But the problem is like, if you just give them $1,000 to pay their rent, okay, you can do that. You can pay them rent, but you could literally just say, here's a credit card, put everything on this credit card and we'll give you 0 interest for a while. Like, you have to pay it back. It's debt. It's gonna go somewhere. It's just this debt is gonna be on the government's balance sheet. That's really what they're doing. And if you take on that much debt, at which point is it not sustainable? I mean, can the United States really service that much debt? I don't know, man. It's crazy. Even after all this ends, the future looks terrible. Higher taxes, big companies taking over industries, so less competitive pricing for consumers. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because my wife, she works in the airline industry, right? She's a flight attendant. She works for a small airline. I think we should actually go in and check how they're doing, huh? Is that okay? Let's go and do that. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to just change this. Okay, yes, is the one that's down there. So I think that her stock is like Sky something. Sky W, yep. We'll look on a daily chart. Yep, they're down like everybody else, about 60%. She says they're not as affected as the other airline industries because they primarily do local flights and small planes. And so if you're going to be canceling a lot of flights and there's going to be less flights everywhere, which ones are you going to cancel? You're going to cancel the big ones. And you're going to cancel the international the international flights. So she says that her work shouldn't be affected, but we'll see. We'll see. Daniel, I've never seen the kind of trading on the screen now. I've only done chart trading. How can I learn more about what Seth is doing? Any beginner course / intro somewhere? So the definitive source, in my opinion, for the style of trading that I'm doing is a cheap online course called NoBSDayTrading.com. It's run by a guy named John Grady. The course is literally like $70. It is worth so much more than that. And he basically gives you the introduction, all of the business side of things, and then basically a description of how the game works. So if you want to start, I would do that. There's also a lot of videos on Jigsaw Trading. They have a YouTube channel and a lot of education over there. And then the rest of it is just watching the market, dude. I read something like this. Airlines spent $45 billion on buybacks and are now asking for a $50 billion billback. This feels so wrong. Not sure you covered that. Just turned. Okay, so this is a good point. I mean, and here's the thing. If they bought back $50 million, or you say $45 billion in buybacks, certainly they could just sell that stock and do an offering, right? Well, there's kind of issues with that because we're in a bear market anyways, and you have to get together with a bank to offer those shares, and who's going to buy them, and what price are they actually going to want, and that's all fraught with issues. And so it's kind of like, yeah, it kind of sucks that they did it with the buybacks. But the thing that is just so shocking to me is that the airline industry has always been a turbulent industry, let's say, right? Like there was a 9/11. It was always scary to own airline industry stocks. And it is insane to me that they basically are saying, oh, like we shut things down for a week and we're bankrupt. It was like, wow, really? Because there was every reason for them to be trying to protect themselves against this sort of a thing. Maybe not for like, months, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but ooh, that is just, oh my gosh. Great purchasing no BS day trading. Cool, yeah. Well, I don't think that they do a referral or anything, but I really like John Grady. Just their basic courses is all you need. The software that I have open is Jigsaw Day Trader. It's like $5.90 or something to buy a license. But I have a video about that. What is the best futures trading software platform, where I explain what I have, and there's an affiliate link. So if you want to help me and you end up buying Jigsaw, then you can use the affiliate code. But no need for no BS day trading. That's just John Grady's thing, and he's great. And I'm more than happy to send people over there because it's a great. I mean, if there was some way for him to give me a referral, then that would be great. But it's such a small thing that you can't, it wouldn't really make sense. Let AAL go bankrupt. No one deserves to get their flight delayed 3 times in a row. Companies that make every day a blackout shouldn't be allowed to continue. Well, I mean, here's the thing. We shouldn't let the airline industry fail. That wouldn't be good. I was reading today. Today, the news was, we should nationalize the airline industry. Are you kidding me, guys? That is such a bad idea. Ugh. Yeah, so let's put the government in charge of something else, because they're doing such a good job at everything else right now. But I don't think that you can let the industry as a whole fail. This has always been the thing. I mean, I've done a lot of research on the financial history, and the overwhelming thing that I get out of looking at the history of past crises is that somebody always gets bailed out. It's usually with private funds, but somebody always gets bailed out. Always. During the panic of 1918 or whatever it was, the traders were over leveraged, and then the markets crashed and they were all bankrupt, and JP Morgan loaned them cash, and he got all of his banker friends to loan them cash, and he bailed them out. There's always a bailout. There's always a bailout. So I don't think that you want to let the industry as a whole fail, but should certain companies that were foolish fail? I mean, that's the way it's intended to be. And I suppose that if an airline goes under and there's some consolidation, maybe that's okay. Except for the problem is that hopefully all of that demand comes back, right? Hopefully all that demand comes back. And if we just let the airline industries consolidate, then that doesn't make your life any better, right? That just gives whoever's left more power and less competition. So, yeah. Jerry, let's just let the government study butterfly migration. Yeah. I mean, the thing here really is like, I don't think it has quite hit everybody how in the dark we are. Like everything that we know about fiscal stimulus really started with keys uh, way back, at the turn of the century. And the problem was no demand. And he, I think, provided a good solution, which was that the government can come in and create demand so that the economic cycle can restart. And he gave us formulas and ways of determining how to best use that so that we can determine which things are more effective. Now, I think that maybe there's some flaws in the overall reasoning, but for the time in the application that he created it for, it wasn't necessarily a big deal. Like, one of the things that bothers me is that the focus on the propensity to spend. So it's like if a company uses it and invests it in itself, then that's not considered a propensity to spend. But if somebody goes out and buys stuff at the grocery store, it is. And I really don't think that that's correct, because if you buy something in your company that helps your company function better and make more money, that is worth far more to the economy than if you go to the store and buy perishable food items that are basically just going to be consumed, and it's a net sink in the economy. But like I said, for the purposes of back then, it was okay. But now we're looking at a situation where they're literally killing the demand. And it's not like, oh, we just need to create demand. No, we're saying there is not going to be any demand in certain industries for a certain number of weeks, government mandated or whatever it is. I guess it's not mandated, but it's highly encouraged. Okay. So we're not talking about like restarting demand or anything like that. So the rules of stimulus don't really make sense, do they? Does every American get $1,000? I mean, that's what they're saying. They're saying that they're going to be giving people money straight up. But like they did that in 2008. George Bush, they had some things and people got checks that didn't do anything. That was not effective. I know that much. I really don't see how that would be effective. But it's a different situation. We need to bridge that gap. The issue that I have is like, okay, you know what? You are a business owner and you need to bridge the gap of, let's just say, the next 2 weeks. I think it could be longer than that, but let's just say the next 2 weeks. I got you. Go get a credit card and just put it on the credit card. Right? Why would you not do that? You probably wouldn't, right? Because you don't want that debt. And really what they're doing is they're saying, oh, we're all going to put it on the credit card. We think it's free money, but it's not. It's not free money. It's debt that we're taking on. It's just on the government's balance sheet instead of your balance sheet. And hopefully, if you are so naive, you think that at some point the rich are going to pay it. Okay, maybe. No. The country as a whole is going to have to pay it in lower growth in the future. Let's see here. In the UK, we got a 3-month mortgage holiday for those affected. Really? Well, that might be the thing. I mean, then the issue is that the mortgage owners, not the mortgage owners, but the loan, the people that are loaning out, those are the ones that take the hit, and then you bail them out. But it's still debt. So I don't know if that solves the problem. It might be more effective to do it that way, but so we can start reading some of these comments. I'm sorry. Well, let me set that up. Found hidden footage from the last Fed meeting and posted it. Wait, really? This is probably as a joke. central bonkers. I'll have to watch that later. Can't show somebody else's video on stream. That wouldn't be appropriate. Corona is just getting started in the USA. Trump is acting all proud and bragging, but the US healthcare system is bad. Poor people don't go to a doctor and don't get tested. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see how it turns out. So far, the United States' response has been, in terms of like the number of deaths over the time period and everything, the US response has been better than other countries, but we haven't really been hit. And I don't know if we're going to get hit or not. Supposedly, in the next week, the number of cases is supposed to skyrocket, but I don't know. It's Wednesday. I haven't seen it yet. We'll see what happens. One of the things that I find really shocking, well, there was this whole thing that in the UK they were just going to quarantine all of the old people and then let everybody else catch it. But then they did a study and they found out that, actually a lot of people that are healthy will get it too, and that will still overwhelm your healthcare system and even the mighty UK health system where the government literally, the government literally runs everything in the UK, that they would be overwhelmed. So I'm sorry, but all of these people out there, they're trying to say this is the reason why we need a socialized healthcare system. It's starting to look to me, when you look at what's happened in Italy, because Italy has a socialized healthcare system, that this is a sort of a thing that might actually kill a lot of socialized healthcare systems over in Europe. Maybe they would still be socialized, but they're going to make significant changes. Wow, that was a huge dip there at 135 in the 10-year. Wow. We've been seeing those a lot, but that one, they absorbed it. There was like 500 at every price there. That was crazy. This will be Trump's downfall. He's a narcissistic liar. He doesn't care about people. Well, I mean, here's the thing: is I have a lot more confidence in the ability of individual companies and businesses to solve an issue like this than I do in the government. Just look at the economic situation right now. We really have an unprecedented economic situation. I really think that it would be a good thing for us to all just close the markets down and all of us financial people put our heads down into determining what the best solutions are to get us through the next few weeks, because the politicians really have no clue. They really have no clue what to do. They're just throwing stuff at the wall. Okay, the private sector is much better and more effective at solving these kinds of issues. There's not going to be enough, breathing apparatus to handle all of the patients that are going to be out there. Great. The government can organize small businesses, pay them to develop devices and get them out to the hospitals. We can do that. If it was just the government, you wouldn't be able to do that. But because we have the free industry in the United States, we can do it. And I believe that even in the medical system, that it is something that we can do. I don't see it that way. And I think that Donald Trump initially was more concerned about, how will this affect of my election prospects and this and that. But I think that was because at the time we really did not realize what was going to happen. And it's kind of funny to me to see there are different people that are at different stages because maybe they don't have all of the information, or they are just, more difficult to convince than other people. Like I said, London, they were just going to let everybody get sick until they found out how many, healthy people would go into the hospital and would overwhelm the system. I still see a lot of people, especially on the conservative side, frankly, that are saying that this is all a hoax. And I'm sitting here like, are you looking at Italy? Okay, like they have a free press in Italy, guys. Italy is totally flooded. Totally flooded. They're literally saying if you're over 80 and you catch it, you're just dead. You're just dead. Which is another problem with the socialized healthcare system, but they're literally just, they're picking and choosing now. So how can you look at that and say, it's not a big deal, it's all a hoax? It's not. I mean, maybe the government or sorry, maybe media exaggerated some things, but there's a real risk and we have to do something about it. Was shutting everything down the right choice? Well, I don't know. You're going to save people? Maybe you go into a depression. How do you make that decision? Above my pay grade. Lucas says, yes, halted until open. No, I believe that they can still, I'm still seeing orders go through. You see here, since we've been streaming, there's been about 20 or so orders have come through. But what happens is the Jigsaw DOM doesn't know where to center. So that's the problem there. That's why I just see 9s there. If I had to restart my computer. If I hadn't restarted my computer and just left it on all overnight, you would be able to see the right spot, like we did on Monday. Lucas says, wait, so Jigsaw is fucked up. Yeah, it doesn't seem to know. Oh, maybe this one's not actually getting data. I also think it has to do with the bridge. Because I think that if I was... Oh, you know, I haven't checked that today. Hold on a second. Let's check. Because I am connected here. But I think that there's still... Yeah, AMP is still saying that they're not... my other account's not going to work, so...
Jokel says, do you think this recession will cause hyperinflation?
Well, so the issue with hyperinflation is that hyperinflation happens when there's too much money out there, but demand is basically disappearing. And so really the concern right now is that you're getting deflation, right? But what I'm concerned about is rising interest rates in a deflationary environment because of irresponsible government decisions. That's what looks like might be happening. The treasuries are pushing down really hard. Oh, where was that? Huge move was like at 135, wasn't it? Now we're like way lower now. That's interesting. I know hyperinflation. You're not having that in the U.S. Please don't worry. Yeah, I don't think that we're gonna get hyperinflation, but you get rising interest rates. That's not good. The interest rate is higher than it was yesterday. That's not good. Okay, what's Algo Lovers say here?
Algo Lover says Monday 11:21 a.m. Algo Lover note, if buyers fail to regain a bid above 2,713, then 2,254 target still valid. If sellers fail to defend 2,713 if tested, then anticipate squeeze higher thumbs up still valid.
Well, they're not going to get to 2,713 anytime soon. Sorry.
Harlequin says, by the way, why can't you watch others' videos on streams? Didn't you also watch Fed and ECB during streams? Other streamers do the same thing.
So if it is something that would be considered public access, then I'll do it. So like when the Federal Reserve runs its meetings and they're streaming it, that in my opinion is public access, and the Federal Reserve doesn't go out there and put copyright strikes out there, right? But if somebody else, was showing my stream in their stream, or they were, coming into our channel and cutting out segments of it and then putting it on their own channel, that would be like them stealing viewers, and I would be unhappy about it. Actually, it would probably, if they were getting people and it was bringing more people to the stream, maybe it would be a great thing. But overall, you don't want people to steal their content, right? So especially if it's like somebody else's creative content, I think it's better for me to not show it. Especially if there's music in it, because then Google can like automatically detect that. So that's how I do it. It's the same thing with the debates. I think the debates should be like public access, but most of them are not. Most of them are run by corporations. When we get to the presidential debates, those ones are going to be public access, and we should be able to stream those ones. Right?
David Felkai says that, do you mind to please do a check of Autostocks VS since moment it locked limit?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I only get CME data, so I wouldn't be able to look at the Eurex products.
Jokel says, are there any countries you're particularly bullish on for the next 10 years?
Oh, man. I don't know. You know, when I was always looking at like, okay, like especially when the whole brick thing was a thing, which is like Brazil, India, China, Korea, right? But my favorite was always India. I feel like India, there's some innovative people in India. They believe in freedom. They have a lot of problems, but I think that their system is resilient enough that over the long run, they can overcome those issues. So if I was going to put money and work in a country for the long haul, I would think that India would be a place that I would rather be. But I really think that this virus epidemic thing is going to change a lot of things. Their countries are going to have to rethink their healthcare systems. Everybody is. Even this whole like the socialized healthcare is a great thing. Well, cool, but even the socialized healthcare systems are having problems. So
Jay Constance says Italy is ahead of the curve. America will follow very soon and it will be very bad. Don't fall for Trump's lies. China controlled this epidemic much better because of communism.
I think, dude, that you're suffering up from a little bit of Trump derangement syndrome, because Donald Trump is the one right now that's saying it's really bad and that we need to prepare ourselves for it. Okay. So
Jokel says, yeah, I think India has a bright future. Personally, I'm most bullish on South Korea and Vietnam.
you know, I really like South Korea too. You know, I was watching, I tell you what, because all the sports are off, but they're still doing StarCraft, and I sure love watching StarCraft, man. And I kind of every time I watch it, I'm like, you know what, Seth, you should learn Korean. But I don't know if I'll ever do it.
Bug says, yeah, I don't think the US can track 6,500 cases back.
David Felkai says yes, Colombia, Malaysia bullish.
Jay Constance says no, Donald Trump says we are doing great, we are the best all the time.
You're obviously not watching the press conferences. Go and watch his press conference yesterday. He was actually more negative about it than everybody else has been, because a lot of people are saying, oh, this is just going to be, we're going to do social distancing for 2 weeks and then everything will be hunky-dory again. But Donald Trump is saying this might last until August. So he has been starting to get extremely realistic about it. He did an about face. But I mean, I think that you can kind of justify it a little bit. Like, I really do feel that the media made some mistakes in how they reported this. They really have gotten people into a panic about certain things. Like that everybody is going to the store and buying toilet paper is absolutely ridiculous. There are no problems with the supply chain. They're actually allowing the trucks to drive. There used to be a rule where if you drove like 14 hours, then you had to rest for 10 hours. But they're suspending that rule. So because the only issue has been getting the stuff from the supply centers. That is an earthquake. Oh, guys, hold on. Okay, hold on. Holy shit, guys. I mean, could you tell how much it was going? Could you guys tell how much it was going? End times. So now I've got to calm down a little bit because that really got my adrenaline going. Holy shit. Okay, so let's pull up Twitter here. Search earthquake. Oh my God, look at it go. Well, I guess we need to. Oh my gosh. We can snap that part of the stream. Oh my gosh, guys. Gary Rich says, see, you ranted on the soapbox. It's a sign. Oh my gosh, guys. I want to see. Okay, here's an aftershock. I'm a little concerned because this desk is not the best place to be. But I have this table right here. Be safe. That was an aftershock. I'm gonna turn you guys on auto read, okay? In case I have to walk away. Okay, I do not see anything from KSL so far. KSL.
David Felkai says what was the mark? See the news?
I'm trying to find. The news. The news hasn't even picked up on it yet. That's freaking crazy. That was not that big of an earthquake. That was probably like a 4.
What's going on, bois?
It was the biggest earthquake I've ever felt, though. We were probably far away from it. I bet you that it was like down in Draper or something, and maybe other parts of Utah got hit harder. But oh my gosh. I mean, people always tell me, oh, there's earthquakes overnight and you can feel them. I can feel the aftershocks. I don't know if you can feel
Uzi
that.
Knesset says you just felt an earthquake.
Oh man. I don't know. Could you see the, I don't know what you guys saw on camera, but that was a real earthquake. Like everything it wasn't enough to like make stuff fall over or anything.
Gary Rich says nothing posted on my EQ app yet.
That was definitely an earthquake. And I went and I checked outside, because I was like, well, was that was an earthquake? That wasn't
Uzi
like
Knesset
something
says,
on
I
the
just
road or
the
something,
stream.
right?
Holy shit, bro.
I used to live next to a major road, and every time something drove by, it would cause shaking like that. So I was like, well, like maybe there could have been an explosion or something. No. Everybody else was looking outside too. It was an earthquake.
Gary Rich says we had a few here in Cali. Just a few minutes, Agai.
No, I went up the stairs and checked on my family.
Vincenzo
and
C says, yeah, we could see you shaking pretty good.
They were like hysterical. That can you hear that? Can you see that? That aftershock.
Gary Rich says, okay, 6.9 in Utah.
No way. What? That it was not 6.9. 6.9 should be like stuff falling off the table, right? See, I have earthquake on read here on Twitter. And okay, let's add it again, and we'll add one that only has likes.
Gary Rich says, sorry, 5.9, not 6.9.
Okay, 5.9 maybe sounds a little bit more realistic.
David Felkai says no, here is the link.
Vincenzo C says, and Trump continues to ignore the earthquakes. Jokel says, seems like the simulation has started the End Times program.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay. I don't think I've experienced anything like that. Okay, so for some context, guys, everybody in Utah is extremely sensitive about earthquakes because we've never had a major earthquake, but we have a fault, and everybody keeps telling us that the Utah is overdue for an earthquake, and that when we do, there's going to be liquefaction and the valley is just going to be destroyed. And so that was the biggest earthquake I think we've had, and people in Utah are going to be like crazy on edge. That was, whew. I mean, I can still feel the aftershocks,
David
and it's kind of
Felkay says
scaring me, but
5.74 Kilometer NNE auf Magna, Utah 18. März 2020 13:09 UTC.
5.7 in Magna. Okay, so let's do some research.
RJ Wheels
Earthquake
says funny jokel.
skills. 5 is a moderate earthquake, movement strong and sudden.
Gary Rich says just outside of Salt Lake City for epicenter.
So 7 and 8 is where you start to get into something that really does damage. Each level is 10 times stronger. So 5.7. Okay. I'm just looking here
David
to
Felkay
see.
says 6 bis 7 is MADDDDD.
6 to 7 is mad, right? Like my understanding is that an 8 is bad and a 10 is like the worst that you'd ever get. And the San Francisco earthquake was like a 7 or an 8. I still do not see. Okay, we need to change 10 likes is not enough.
Harlequin says White House urged to curb short sellers. New York Post. Why is this legal, by the way? Isn't this some sort of market manipulation?
Yeah, banning
David
short
Felkay
selling is
says
not
I
going to
am
help
short mark
anybody.
5.9.
Okay, so I'm going to tweet about this.
Jokel says quick buy aftershock calls. Gary Rich says in Cali we have them all the time. 5.9 is just a dance. Vincenzo C says quakes are scary.
That's insane. It was kind of scary because well, the thing that's scary about that to me was I feel it a little bit. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's probably just going to go away. It keeps going, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not going to go away. Oh, it's still going. Oh, I don't know if I need to do anything. It seems like maybe I'm okay. But I kind of, now I think back on it now, and I'm like, I kind of feel like I froze. Like, I should have just ducked, you know? Oh, we're still feeling, because this table is really big,
David Felkay says I would not know if it will stop or get worse or come back. Scary stuff.
right? Yeah, I don't know either.
Jay Constant says I wanted to buy some silver but it takes 6 to 8 weeks. Some web shops are sold out.
I think that an earthquake like that normally the first shock is going to be the worst, but okay, here I got it right here. 6 kilometers northeast of Magna. He says magnitude 3.73.
David Felkay says Kitco for silver.
That was pretty crazy, guys.
Jokel says at Jay Constant just buy some SLV bra.
The thing that's you know what's so dumb though is like I'm sitting here thinking about it, like I had this title and everything. I was like, I feel like this is a discussion that needs to be had, and I'm sure that smart people out there are having it, but we need to start talking about it here. And so I picked a good title and everything, and I had a good start, and I did my rant and everything like that. And that was like, okay, now we can go out and we can post that video and we can see what people think and we can get some discussion about it, right? And then this earthquake thing comes in. So now I'm like, should I change the name of the video?
Again? My brother and his family live in Sandy.
Okay, so they were closer. It's Magna, so I will show you.
David Felkay says Mother Nature stopped you out.
Right. So we live over here, and I live up here in Centerville, right? They're saying that it happened northeast of Magna, so it probably happened somewhere in here. I don't know if you can see that. I don't have my pen open. So based on what they said, it sounds like it was somewhere in this. Oh, that's a terrible. It was somewhere in this
Gary
area.
Rich says, Seth, did you notice your animals didn't make a sound?
Yeah, my animals did not make a sound. That is interesting. Oh, okay. So, thank you, Gary. I'll be right back.
Jokel says you might get a bunch of viewers if you change stream title to Live Massive Earthquake in Utah. More coming.
You might get a bunch of viewers if you change the stream title to Live Massive Earthquake in Utah. Okay. Animals are all okay. Well, like, obviously I knew they were all going to be okay, but I was worried that they would be like really freaked out, but they seem to be okay. What a day, guys. Oh, my work is not. Should probably be sending out the "Are you safe?" text message. I've not seen it.
Algo Lover says per zettabyte they'll attempt to bid it up into 175.02, where sellers WLD be anticipated face with rolling eyes.
Okay, next question. We got 5 minutes to the open. What do you guys think I should change the title to? You think I should just change it to live massive earthquake? A massive earthquake in Utah. Let's change it. My gosh.
Jay Constant says any BTC predictions?
Hold on. I haven't taken a look at them yet today. Let's see. Let's see here.
Baron Kazgun says BTC is doomed.
Should we just say
Charrot says nope.
Utah earthquake hits during live stream?
Jay Constant says is this the decoupling of BTC? Vincenzo C says just add ... and then the earthquake hit.
Now you gotta use the keyword so that Google finds it.
Charrot says everything with BTC is the same, just not the price.
Well, okay, so let's look at Bitcoin, shall we? So I want to point out, if we go back and do the analysis, last time that we really seriously looked at it, we were here. We were kind of in this sideways range. The other markets were like really freaking out. And I'm like, Bitcoin is just kind of sitting here in a place where people say that they should be buying, which says to me that new buyers are not coming in and you got a bunch of longs that are going to have to dump. And we got this. You can kind of see how it happened, right? Once we got to this point, yeah. They have now kind of based and found a new base of, there's still people long, of course. So you kind of have this thing, if somebody gets nervous and decides to leave the market, then we can go lower and things can get like super crazy, right? Sharut says people are buying in masses right now. That I don't think so. That's a lofty claim that you're going to have to prove. Because I do not see the volume coming in. My wife is like, yeah, for how long? Days. Okay. Anyways, so the problem is Bitcoin has not behaved like a flight to safety asset in this environment. Like, honestly, guys, bonds fell 10 points yesterday. Bitcoin doesn't do anything. Why would you want to be in it? It's pumping right now. I don't see anything happening. Unless I'm like, maybe my chart is, do I need to go into database management? Nope, there are some that need to roll over. Can roll over oil now. Okay, here comes the E-mini, so let's minimize this. Okay, so they are, of course, down immediately. They're not actually going to the 7%. That's interesting. $5.9 limit down in Utah. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are tuning in and going like, okay, well, let's see if there's anything on YouTube. Let's see, and you see what where did oh, here it is. Okay. I'll pull this back up so that we can see the Twitter feed and see if we get anything. The Mayans were only off by 10 years. Was that where it really was a 5.7? I guess maybe I was just far enough away from it because I thought that a 5.7 could like bring down your house, But we were all safe.
Uzi Knesset says, damn man, we have a front row seat to the end of the world. It sucks when you get information faster than the average person. Confused face.
It actually looks like the E-mini is trying to make a run back for the 5% limit. I don't know if they'll make it back up there, but this is interesting. This is different from the other days, so that's good. Market rocks Utah film at 11. Yeah.
Peppa Pig says no way. Congrats getting it on camera.
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and look at it, but I don't think that it's gonna be all that amazing to watch. It sure was scary though. I mean, nothing fell over. It was just probably the thing that's interesting to watch about it is my reaction, right? Because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go, hide or what. Okay, hold on a second. I need to go check on my wife. Okay, you should show us the footage. I know it's nothing but great still. Yeah, I don't know if. Okay, so let's see here. The problem is that I don't think that.
Advanced management program is
Hold on a second. They don't necessarily let you rewatch because I'm on high latency. You can only rewind back so far. So let's see if it can do it. Guys, feel the earthquake. Little one just happened. Oh yeah, look, I can feel it right now. So the thing is I have so much stuff on this desk. I don't know how I could show you, but I've got 2 lights, a camera, 3 monitors on here, all on an IKEA table. So it's not the most stable thing in the world. Well, I mean, I have no fears of it falling over or anything. It's all quite secure, but like I can feel it through the table. So this is probably the 5th aftershock that I've felt. Okay, so the equities. Oh man, how do we? Oh, there's another chart. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Dun, 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 dun. Let's get rid of this one. Remove. Okay. Now you should be able to see the tweets about the earthquake. 5.7 and 5.9. The thing that kind of has me, so I was saying I'm like all scattered brain right now. Can aftershocks earthquake? Can aftershock be worse? Okay. Just as you snap your fingers with the whole area of your fingertip and thumb, earthquakes happen over an area of the fault called a rupture surface. However, unlike your fingers, the whole fault plane does not slip at once. The rupture begins at a point on the fault plane called the hypocenter, a point usually deep down in the fault. The epicenter is the point on the surface directly above the hypocenter. The rupture keeps spreading until something stops it. Part of living with earthquakes is living with aftershocks. Earthquakes come in clusters. In any earthquake cluster, the largest one is called the main shock. Anything before it is a foreshock, and anything after it is the aftershock. Oh, so if there was a bigger one, then that would become the main shock. Okay. An earthquake large enough to cause damage will probably produce several felt aftershocks within the first hour. The rate of aftershocks dies off quickly. The day after the main shock has about half the aftershocks of the first day. 10 days after the main shock, there are only a tenth the number of aftershocks. An earthquake will be called an aftershock as long as the rate of earthquakes is higher than it was before the main shock. For big earthquakes, this might go on for decades. Bigger earthquakes have more and more larger aftershocks. The bigger the main shock, the bigger the largest aftershock on average, though there are many small aftershocks than large ones. Also, just as small earthquakes can continue to occur a year or more after the main shock, there's a chance for a large aftershock long after an earthquake. Sometimes what we think is a main shock is followed by a larger earthquake, then the original earthquake is considered a foreshock. The chance of this happening dies off quickly with time. Just like aftershocks, after 3 days, the risk is almost gone. 3 days. Thanks. Yeah, so I should say to her, So the gist of that is it's possible to have a larger one. Okay. I feel like I'm starting to get back to where I'm like leveling off Canyon vlogs. It woke me up. Oh, yeah. Well, I wake up at 5:30. I wake up at 5:30 and I start streaming at 6:20. And I had done my whole rant and we were well into everything when that happened. I was really, man. And of course there's no way, like, you'd never expect that, right? I'm telling her, like, it's possible to have an aftershock that's bigger. I felt it and it's not good. Good thing, yeah, I'm fast awake and I'm running. I'm okay. Robert, any damage? No. Everything's fine. Peppa Pig mice. How did you get the username Peppa Pig on YouTube? How did you do that? Is that not that is crazy. Whoa, I didn't even realize there's a lot of people watching, but man. So like everybody in Utah woke up and is like, what's going on? And checked the thing. So you guys can all see futures trading. That's great. Yeah, I remember when we had the fire, because the fire in Centerville was up on the mountain, and we had a lot of viewers after that too. Peppa Pig says you just change it in settings. That's funny. I just because there is, that the most popular live stream on YouTube is when the Peppa the Pig channel live streams for like a whole day their TV show. That's why YouTube doesn't have like a top streams channel, because they're embarrassed. I tell you what, I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how the ES is trading so far. We're relying on a random guy 6 for information. Okay, well, just to recap, there was a 5.7 magnitude earthquake. The epicenter was somewhere a little bit northeast of Magna. There will continue to be aftershocks probably for the next 3 days. It is likely, however, not guaranteed that was the largest shock. So, so that's where we're at. And then if you're interested in what we're watching right now, what you see is a depth of market of the futures markets, and the panels that you see on the far left over here. These. Oh man, I need a brighter pen. These are the S&P 500 futures. So we were stuck at the 5% limit down, and they just opened, and they're coming back to that 5% limit. So we're doing okay in the markets. Way too fast for me to trade it. Normally we try and take some gutsy trades, but there's just so many tweets coming through about it. So for those of you that that were here in Utah and felt the earthquake, how did you react to it? Because by the time that I started to say, okay, you know what, maybe I should take some action and like get under the desk, it was over. I was kind of like frozen, like, do I need to get under the desk? Or it doesn't seem that bad. Ooh. Huge earthquake. Buy toilet paper. Oh my gosh. Oh. Hopefully because of the virus, everybody is already prepared, right? You know what? It's actually been nice to be in Utah because I think that we've handled it so much better. I watched some videos of Costco. I watched this video of a Costco, and they literally had a line. It went all the way around the Costco and then down the street 2 blocks. And everybody was taking shopping, had a shopping cart in the line, but it was just this enormously huge line, and I could not believe it. It was insane. But I didn't see anything like that in Utah. Like when I've been to Costco, yeah, they're out of toilet paper, but otherwise I wouldn't notice anything unusual about that day. They've been good. I didn't have to go to the store though, because like the kids are not in school right now. So we had to buy extra food to feed them for lunch. I got up in my underwear and walked outside my room and was just confused. Yeah. Well, I was really not 100% sure if that's what was happening until it was almost over, you know? Our Costco had the longest lines in Los Angeles. Lewis Allred says, yeah, that is just, I tell you what, I mean, earthquake can be a scary thing. Like I said, in Utah, for those of you that aren't from Utah, they're always warning us about an earthquake. All of the church builds all of their buildings way above the earthquake code because they're convinced that someday there's going to be an earthquake and that they need to be prepared. Like everybody says that there will be liquefaction, that the valley floor will just turn into liquid and just destroy everything. But we had a 5.7, so I don't know if that makes things worse or better, or I don't know. But everybody's a little panicked, of course. Peppa Pig, yeah, that's what happened with Costco. But the one in Provo had specific lines for toilet paper and paper towels. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Does the earthquake have something to do with Bernie's supporters crying on Twitter and Reddit after Biden trashed him yesterday in Florida and other states? You know, Arlequin's a regular that's in here every day and is messing with us, but and probably now is not the best time to go into politics, although I love to talk about politics. But I was kind of surprised. I didn't really see and I have a lot of Bernie Sanders friends on Facebook because, you know, I have a lot of friends from Ravers. And by the way, you can look me up on Facebook, Speculator Seth. I have a page. And they're in the video description. But yeah. The Bernie Sanders supporters have been quiet. They're more concerned about coronavirus now. Like I think that they've already realized that he's done for and they've moved on. But there's kind of begs the question: when is Bernie going to quit? But yeah. Louis Yang's program adopted $1,000 for all soon. Well, it's a little bit different. If you give everybody $1,000 one time, that's very different from giving everybody $1,000 every month, like Andrew Yang wants to do. That said, I'm not so sure that I think that giving everybody $1,000 is the best way to handle things. Turo, the views he's getting, good for him. Yeah, you know what? This isn't the biggest live stream I've ever had. the biggest live stream I ever had was the day that the Bitcoin futures go live. Because what I do is futures. I trade futures. And my expertise is futures and financial markets. That's what the channel is about. And the Bitcoin guys, they didn't know anything about futures, and they were going live on the CME. So, and that day, I think I had like 8,000 viewers. And that was the first time that I had ever streamed too. It was awesome. And that's how the stream got started. But normally we're only like 30, 50. So today we're 100. That's cool. Ace, hey buddy, you guys okay? We lost a couple of pictures off the wall. Did you? Yeah, no, everything I think is okay. I think both so the epicenter was in Magna. I think both of us were a little further away, but absolutely no damage. I was like, honestly was like not even sure. Like, I was like, do I need to do something? Because I know earthquakes happen and like I felt little shakes before and stuff. But I was like, do I need to get under the desk? Do I need to like protect my equipment? But it was all okay. But we got it on video now, so we can see my panicked face. I'm sure I probably look panicked. I don't know. When you're doing futures trading, you get to see how you react to stress a lot. And I'm not necessarily the best at dealing with stress. It really affects my system. It's usually very visible when I'm really stressed out. Ace Trade says it lasted longer than I wanted and was noisy. Yeah. Dude, if another bigger earthquake happens, I'm moving to Canada. Yeah, so that's why I'm wondering, like, so hopefully having one earthquake means that the big one can be delayed now. The first thing that hit my mind when it hit was like, is this the big one? Coronavirus, and now the big one, it really is the end of the world. Uzi says I had a bug out face. Thanks, Uzi for you guys, new guys. Uzi is probably our longest running dedicated viewer. So if he says that I had a bug out face, then that's what happened. Lixie Lab says felt it here in Bountiful. Yeah, I live in Centerville, Lixie. So yeah. But they said it was in Magna. I haven't seen. Oh, well, let's go and see if we can find a map of the exact epicenter. Let's see. Does KSL have anything about it now? So when I was checking KSL's Twitter, they hadn't tweeted anything yet, and I'm like, you guys are like way. Oh, okay. So here it is. Yep. There is the epicenter right next to all those big lakes. That is right. Oh my gosh, that was right where my gym used to be. I want to check. I have some friends over there. Well, I'll check them later today because their business is over there. Right there, like on the epicenter. It'll be interesting to see if they see anything or if that area has been like... Oh, it'll be interesting. Yeah, the epicenter was Magna. A building exploded downtown. Wait, what? Which building downtown? Oh, man. KSL is pretty slow, but you can't judge them. Well, it was like, what, 7:09? I understand. Most of you all are still in the shower. I'm usually up and streaming before most people in Utah even wake up, so... I'll forgive KSL for being behind the curve. KJ, I live in Utah. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. You fell on Rebellious. You fell on your butt. Now, where do you live? That it was strong enough to make you fall. And did you fall because like it really pushed you off balance, or did you fall because you're stupid? And well, not that you're stupid, but you know, it just really caught you off guard. And, you know, you kind of stumbled awkwardly, and that's I think what would happen to me. Matthew, I live in Tooele. Yeah, I'm really, I would. So does anybody live in West Valley or Magna? I'll be interested to hear if the people that were like really close to it, if they felt it stronger. Yeah, you know what? Listen, hey, we're all a little panicked. Maybe I'll say something dumb. I said something stupid, but you know what I mean. You're like sitting there and you're like, oh no, an earthquake! Oh, and you freak out and you fall over because you're clumsy and awkward, and not necessarily because it was so strong. Peppa says he lives in Pleasant Cove. Okay. BDO Girls says that they live in West Valley. So how did it feel in West Valley? Because where I am, it was kind of like I wasn't even sure if I needed to do anything. I just kind of. They squeezing at 16. Oh, I can see it. Look at that. 135.06. Oh, that's not bad. Taylorsville shook like crazy. I don't want to tell where you are. Yeah, I mean, don't tell us exactly where you live. I live in Centerville. I'm not going to tell you my exact street address, Centerville is so small, almost telling you that I live in Centerville is almost like telling you too much, but Max Rainey in Ogden and you could feel it. So it travels pretty far then, huh? I woke when this started. Oh man, like I'm the only one awake, right? I have 4 kids. I have 3 stepkids and an infant, and my wife, is still nursing. And man, and I don't know if you can hear it. Probably you can't hear it afterwards, but I went up and checked on them. They were like, the girls were like crying. They were really freaked out. And I just had to remind them the best practices for earthquake safety. And by the way, guys, this is an important thing maybe we should share for earthquake safety. Because some of the things that we've been told about earthquake safety in the past are not necessarily as effective as we'd like to believe. Don't get underneath of something that can crush you, okay? Like a lot of people want to get underneath of the bed, and then what happens if the roof falls on top of you and then you're crushed underneath of the bed, and there's not a lot of space there anyways? So it is much better to be next to something that is really, really sturdy. So like, especially if you had like a chest or, like a small dresser like that, and you get next to it. That way, here's the item, and then the roof falls and it goes like this. And there's a little triangle, and you're in that triangle. That's the safest place to be, right? Just to tell you, I remembered this guy, the guy who, he's an earthquake specialist guy. And he said that in Mexico, they had an earthquake like that, and the roof was concrete, and the concrete roof fell, and all of the kids in that classroom were under their desks like they're supposed to be, and so the concrete fell on the desks and squished them all. But if they had been next to the tables, there was like 3 feet next to all of the desks, and so they could have all lived if they had just been next to it. So. Anyways, maybe probably not so useful now, but next time. I have a desk, but it's next to a window, so not so smart to get under. Yeah, but my thought was like, do I need to is my stuff gonna fall over? They don't make very good desks. They don't make very good stuff for streaming yet. I'm sure that it'll get better, but like trying to get 3 monitors and 2 key lights and a camera and all my microphone stuff all on one desk is really hard. And it was shaking around, and I'm like, do I need to save my camera here? Because I don't think that my life is in danger, but I think that my equipment might be. But it was okay. Ace says that he lost a few pictures. Ace is our regular that he lives down in Alpine. Worst experience ever? Oh, come on. It was guys, admit it. I mean, we're all safe. Nothing got damaged. Kind of a cool experience now. You can say, hey, remember that one time when the world was falling apart and there was a virus running everywhere and we were all already school canceled and everything, and then there was an earthquake. This is the sorts of things that you will tell your kids about for sure. What time did you get it at? I think it happened at 7:09. It was towards the top of the hour. I've kind of lost track of time now. But I'm glad that we can laugh about it now. I've always been worried about the big one. Hopefully that wasn't the big one. I'm still shaking. Well, can you still feel the aftershocks? I mean, because this table is a little shaky, I can feel the aftershocks. I haven't felt one for a while now, though. I got it at 7:10. Yeah, I think it hit at exactly 709 to 710. So do you think it's over fully, Rose? So we were looking that up a little bit earlier, and the answer that we got is that you can potentially have aftershocks for 3 days. The biggest quake is considered the main shock. So if I can draw a picture for you over here, I'll do it over here on this chart in the lower right. You'll get like this sort of a thing. And this is the main quake, and then you get something like that. So there is a small possibility that what we felt was just like one of these. But the way that it's behaving now, from just my quick, and I'm not an expert on this, but just from our quick search, it sounds like that probably was the main shock. But you can continue to get aftershocks like this for 3 days. After 3 days, the probabilities dip substantially. So yeah, it's probably over. Probably over. That was the main. That's what we just felt right there. And you'll probably still feel some aftershocks. Which Wasatch Fault line? So that's one of the things that's interesting is the epicenter was over in Magna. Was over in Magna West Valley area. Felt that in South Jordan. Yeah, I bet. That's way closer than I am. I'm not scared. I'm terrified. Yeah. Well, just so I'll tell you a couple of things, because I trade, and being able to control your emotional state is a big part of trading. I don't always do a good job. Don't consider myself like an amazing trader or anything like that. This is a lot of like trying to figure things out. But one of the things that's important is trying to control your emotional state. The first thing that I always try is breathing. So you can think like in 2, 3, hold 2, 3, out 2, 3. When you do that, that will really calm your system down. That'll really calm your system down. Another thing that I like to do is sit and try, look at the thing and expand your peripheral vision. This is what I do when I'm watching my Dom. I can see, I'm looking over here. I'm looking over in, usually I'm looking in this area, and this area. But then I kind of stare at that area and kind of try to expand my peripheral vision and take everything in. And when you do that, your brain kind of goes into this hyper-aware mode, and it really calms you down. But it's not so much that it calms you down as it focuses you, and you know the thing that you got to do, and you do it, right? So if you're having trouble, that is maybe 2 things that you could do to help. I'm looking at other live streams right now on YouTube, and people seem to be worried about it. Well, you're talking to somebody that deals with a lot more stress in his day than a normal person might. So I was at Harmon's while it hit. So did anything fall on the floor at Harmon's? Seth, have you thought about narrowing the peripheral vision? Look at the Paul Rodder action on the E-mini. So David, kind of the thing when I'm trading is that you don't want to become tunnel visioned, because that can happen to you, especially when you're really stressed out. Is people can tend to tunnel vision, and that's when you'll miss something really important. So it is kind of better to expand your view. Is my opinion on that. In New Mexico. Oh wait, is that New Mexico, Jamie Ems? But did you feel it all the way down there? I don't know. It was pretty freaky, I'll tell you that much. My chandelier almost fell down. Yeah, so did anybody have real damage? The thing is I remember one time, there was an earthquake at night, and when I woke up in the morning, the news was all talking about the earthquake, and I think it was like on a 4. And people were like, oh yeah, on the news that day was like, these pictures fell down, and it was like a big deal. And I'm sitting here like, okay, that was like a much bigger earthquake than we have ever had. And I think we're all okay. A window broke in my house. Okay, there you go. That's some real damage. I have so many things in my room that are not stable, and nothing fell. I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking like maybe I need to like stabilize this computer desk a bit better. Maybe I need to like anchor it to the that behind me. Can you see this over here? That hutch? Man, I should probably attach that to the wall. maybe maybe there's some changes that we should make in the house. I'm in the Avenues old house. Nothing was damaged. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I tell you what, when it happened, I was really freaked out, but I'm really enjoying talking to you guys about it now. It's kind of fun to think back on it now. I can't wait. The replay is limited because we're in high, ultra latency mode, so that my interaction with you is the fastest that it can be. Oh, here's an aftershock. Okay. So that again, I'm like, do I need to get under the desk? I think that was the worst of that one. That was a real aftershock. That one was probably like if the main quake was 5.7, that one must have been like 5, 4.5 or 5. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting. So we'll see all of this stuff and come through on Twitter now. That was it. Now everybody in chat is feeling it now, man. In the meantime, hey, Emini is still up. Good job. Thank you guys over in Chicago for taking care of things for me. Well, we're all freaking out. Oh, that was great. Oh man. Do you feel like, do you guys get like the rush when it happens? Because when it happens and then nothing bad happens, it actually kind of feels kind of good, right? To be like freak, like an amusement ride. That's really, I'm gonna really regret saying those things if we have like a really big earthquake, but that one was smaller. So like I said, my understanding of it, let's just draw this picture again. My understanding of it is that you get like this, like there's little earthquakes, and then you'll get the big earthquake, and then you get aftershocks like this. So because they're going down, the chances of us having like a worse aftershock are greatly diminished. But you will probably continue to feel aftershocks like that for the next 3 days. So, the aftershocks can be strong. So still be aware and still be safe and understand, or again, like we said, get next to something sturdy so that if the roof falls down on you, you will be like in a triangle of safety. Okay, but you don't need to be like freaking out. You know what I mean? Just understand the danger. We understand the possibilities. We understand what we got to do if they need to happen, and we just enact our plan, and everything's cool, and we can just calm down, and it's good. I'm here instead of my online school. Emily, I want to know, because my kids are supposed to be doing that today too, but I don't think that my understanding is that they just have like assignments and things that they do online, but not like a video conferencing where they have to be there at a specific time. Is it different for you? Are you supposed to be like on the stream and your teacher is teaching right now, sort of a thing? Well, school doesn't usually start, right? School for my kids, elementary school, doesn't start till like 8:30. I thought it was my fat roommate walking around at first, right? Well, if I thought maybe something really big just drove down the road or something, Plan your trade and earthquake your plan, says David. I read that. So I got this great text-to-speech feature on the stream that I'm not using because there's so many people, but it'll read it out in a German accent because David is German. Listen, if it'll do it here. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to.
David Felkai says plan your trade and earthquake your plan.
I freaking love that thing. I woke up and watched my whole room shake. Yeah. Poster boy slept through the 5.7. That's a boy. See. You're a deep sleeper, man. I'm in Kearns and it's still hit hard. Sony, did you have like damage in your house? So most of us, I hear some people saying the windows broke, but nothing too bad. Is the power out? Well, the power didn't go out on me. I have UPS because I trade, and if the power were to go out on me and I was in a trade, that would be super, super bad. So I have UPS for my computer and my thing. But if the power did go out, the lights in the room would go off. So we still have power in Centerville. Somebody was saying that there was something happened to a building downtown, but I didn't see it. I don't see anything about that. 5.7 magnitude earthquake rocks Wasatch Front. Okay, subreddit page. I pray for the people in Utah. You know what? We're okay. Save your, not to be silly or anything, but save your prayers for the guys that are catching coronavirus. Save your prayers for the medical professionals that are going to have to deal with the apparently massive number of people coming in with respiratory issues because of the coronavirus. This was a little aftershock. It was a little scary, I know, but it's over and apparently not a big deal. Apparently not a big deal. You're ridiculous. Earthquakes can be dangerous. They can be dangerous, but the danger is past. Just remember now, you know what an earthquake feels like. Maybe next time one happens, you know your plan and you can enact your plan a little bit faster, right? David, do you even trade? I don't think that we're going to trade today. I don't think that it would be safe to trade after that. Not even a sim trade. I'll take a sim trade and then they'll be like, well, what is wrong with this guy? He's awful at it. That's probably what would happen. Is there going to be more skinny bones? According to the information that we have, there is a possibility, maybe about 15% possibility that there would be an aftershock that would be bigger. But now that we've had an aftershock that's less and the longer on this goes, the less and less of a chance that is. So yes, it's a possibility, but it's extremely unlikely at this point. In the heart of the earthquake, started shaking the whole hotel. So are you in those hotels over in over in the Magna West Valley area? My little dog is crazy by running around my room because of the earthquake. You know what? My dogs, they're always really freaked out by fireworks. So I thought the earthquake would have them really shook up, but he was quiet and a little off, but he wasn't totally panicked. Fred Express right next to the Maverick Center. Yeah, you were right there. So being so close to the epicenter, how heavy was it? Was there damage? Did it make stuff fall over? Did furniture in the hotel room fall over or anything? I'm counting on that other 85%. Yeah, this is very unlikely at this point to have a larger aftershock, especially since we had an aftershock and that one was much less. My dad was in an apartment next to West Valley Mall. Wow. Yeah, I'm wondering how big of a difference does it make how close you are to it? Because where I was like, okay, I could definitely tell that it was an earthquake, but I wasn't sure if I had to actually do anything about it. But I'm wondering, okay, 5.7, if you were in the middle of it, would that be really scary? And I also wonder if there's environmental damage in that area, pipes break, fault lines pop up. Be interesting. I'm sure that we'll see pictures later in the day. I'm wondering, my company would normally send me, oh, actually they did. I just have it muted. No, that was just the neighborhood watch. The neighborhood watch came and checked on me, but my company's emergency response system has not triggered. That's funny. I was on the computer listening on Spotify and I felt my house shake slightly and then the house shook. Yeah. Clearfield. All the way up in Clearfield. Yeah, somebody was all the way up from Ogden said that they shook hard. So that's where I was like, okay, how far away, how big of a difference does it make when you're really far away? But if they're feeling it in Ogden, then that must mean that it can travel really far, and maybe being that close doesn't make that big of a difference. I don't know. Logan check. Wow, that's all the way. David says that bid is false. You mean that one at 135.08 half? Oh, now the school is calling us. Let's see what the school says.
This school district. To listen to the message, press 1 or simply stay on the line. To place this call on hold.
What's Davis school district say?
Hi, this is Principal Lapath calling from Taylor Elementary. I'm resending this because I heard people did not get my call out or email yesterday. You should have received an...
Has nothing to do with the earthquake. Has nothing to do with the earthquake. Kearns check. You see, Kearns, that's close too. Wait, you felt it all the way at the state line? Like the state line between Utah and Idaho? The news right now is like everybody will die. No, let me tell you something. Different people have tendencies. I'm all about like neurotypes. I am of the type, in part because I trade, where I'm usually the person that's going to be like, oh, it's not so bad. Like with this coronavirus thing, when it first happened and the markets were dipping a little bit, and I was like, oh no, this is like a short-term thing, you buy it. And then of course the second wave came and the markets really went down, and it wasn't until like maybe last week that I was like, oh, okay, now there's some different information that has changed my mind, and now it's really bad. But even then I'm still like, okay, if there's a bad situation, then we take our plan of action, but panicking, it doesn't necessarily help you. So keep that in mind. But based on the information that I have, you don't need to be panicking. Just understand the safety precautions that you need to take, right? Have a plan for where to take shelter. And other than that, you can be calm, and it's over. The danger is over. The chance of something else bad happening is severely diminished. It could still happen, so don't get me wrong. There could still be another move, but the chances are severely diminished. It cracked the pavement in daybreak. Okay, David Trosh, you should take a picture of that and post it on Twitter. I would like to see that. I haven't really seen any pictures come through here on the Twitter feed, but yeah. And then if you do, then come back and tell me your Twitter name so we can look at it, because I would love to see that. Only about 3 noticeable aftershocks. I think I counted 6 now. There was only one really big aftershock though. The rest, and then there was kind of the rumbling afterwards. That was the thing that was really weird, was afterwards it was like you could almost feel that it was like there was the break and then everything kind of settling in. Oh, hold on. Sorry, my computer had a little hitch there. I'm so mad I slept straight through it, Jiffy. Wow, what? Really? I mean, surely it, like at the end of it, you were like, oh, that was an earthquake, right? Like you knew what happened afterwards, right? Because that is, yeah, we had the 4.0 20 minutes after the 4.7. Okay. I'm on KSL and there's 12 aftershocks. Really? You have the main shock, and if the aftershock is bigger, the main becomes a foreshock. You're right, Kemba. You're right. So what I was reading was that the chances of it being a foreshock is about 15%, and the aftershocks can happen for about 3 days afterwards, and then the chances really diminish significantly after there. But because they come in waves like this, maybe that was a foreshock, and then here would be the main shock, right? But then we've already had 2 aftershocks like that, so the chances are, from my understanding, is that the danger is largely past. There was a quake in St. George also? I don't know. I hadn't seen anything about that. I thought it was a tornado in Utah. Come on. Well, we have had a tornado in Utah before, haven't we? I counted 19 aftershocks. I'm subscribing. Hey, well, thank you very much. I'll warn you guys. What I normally do here is we trade futures. So I'm here every morning from about in Utah time 6:20 to 8:20 Utah time, 8:20 to 10:30 Eastern time, and I trade futures. So we've already been in like, oh my gosh, like it's been so crazy. The channel's been doing well because a lot of people have been tuning in trying to figure out what's going on, right? Because they wake up and they see, oh, futures locked 5% limit. That's my expertise. So if you subscribe, that would be the kind of stuff that we're checking in. But we're pretty casual, right? So these guys are all trading, and sometimes you just need something going on in the background, and that's what we provide. So you can come and chat with us every morning. I'd love to have you. It's a lot of fun, and I will tell you what, we have some real issues going on in our society. Like here the administration is talking about a $1 trillion stimulus. Like that is, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, they can't be right. There's no, like, how can that possibly, that number is so big. We're like, don't even know. I don't think that we even have an economic understanding yet to even understand the implications of what's going on. Lots of good stuff to talk about. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about in the future, I think. Yes, you are safe. Go back to sleep. Are you still awake at 8 o'clock normally? Well, if you're normally awake, if you're normally still asleep at 8 o'clock, I envy you, my friend. I envy you because I wake up at 5:30. I understand. School's canceled. You can live it up. That's what I would probably be doing. I wake up at 10. What if it was just a big hippo? Well, if it was really just a really big hippo, then I think that there would be reason for concern because hippos are scary as heck. Scary as heck, such a Utah thing. Yellowstone won't be caused by this. It's too large of a volcano, so it's not likely. Oh man, yeah, that's college corona life. Yeet says go back to sleep. I heard some people that they were living in dorms at colleges. I don't think that this was in Utah, but the college closed the dorms down. And some are saying that if the hostels become overwhelmed, that they could use dorms and hotels and stuff to house people. Oh, I hope that it doesn't get to that point. I really hope that the measures that we're taking, that everybody takes them seriously and we flatten the curve and we avoid the really nasty situation that they're having in Italy. Heck is such a Utah term. It totally is. I'm waiting for people to blame it on 5G. Hayden, oh my gosh. It is totally what's going to happen, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just the space that I'm in. But how do people come in with conspiracy theories? And I am very much like, prove it. Like, you want me to believe something? And unless you're talking about God, you want me to believe something, you got to prove it. Like, because it's just like, I need to have some reason to believe that the deep state is doing X, Y, and Z. Like, I just hear some of the most ridiculous things right now. And 5G is one of the ones that keeps coming up more over and over and over again that I think is just so bizarre. 5G is causing the coronavirus. I read that. Yeah, well, I think part of the reason why the deal is with 5G is because there's this competition between US and Chinese firms about providing the 5G equipment. So there are some moneyed interests that have an incentive in freaking people out about 5G. But not good. The most important question, you require no evidence? No, because I think that I do believe that God exists. But if I didn't believe that God exists, I would still live my life the way that I do. Because I've gone through and I'm like, I like the way that my life is. And I've found these tools, these rules of thumb that to make life decisions that I've been following have been very, very effective. And so from my perspective, it is you taking the leap of faith and just going for it. And if it's wrong, then you're wrong and doesn't matter. Lilo Farmington. I'm in Centerville, so there people were saying. I mean, I don't know if they were for real, but somebody said that they were like all the way up to the state lines. But I don't know. I don't know. No kill or oof. Is there going to be another earthquake now? So, their chances of there being another earthquake that is more severe are significantly diminished now. There maybe 15%, probably even less now. You will probably continue to feel aftershocks for 3 days, though. Okay, so if you're one of the things to remember is there's this part of your brain that handles like emotional memory, and when you get a real rush like that, like your brain's going to remember it. So next time there's an earthquake, that part of the brain can hit you and cause you to act before the executive part of your brain even realizes what's going on. So that might be something that if you have a really strong emotional memory, you might want to be aware of, that you're going to get a little bit of PTSD. There's going to be some aftershocks, and that feeling of fear is going to come back. So just be aware, but you can handle it. You guys you all seem pretty tough. By you, I shat my pants, except for you, because no, I'm just kidding. So somebody said that they fell over. They were standing and they fell over. I can only imagine if I was like in the shower at the time, that would have really freaked me out. Power line near my apartments exploded. No more WoW Classic for the next few days. Really? Not a scary one, but a foreshock can happen minutes before or days. The longest time between a foreshock and a quake was 2 years. That's interesting. Yeah, but again, that chance that there would be that what we experienced was just a foreshock is 15%, and we've already experienced aftershocks from that event that were less. So the chances that there's going to be another that we're still in foreshocks and that there's going to be another quake hit that's bigger is significantly diminished. Okay, just be aware though. Know your earthquake safety. I was driving in Orem and didn't feel anything. Okay. So maybe there is a limit to how far away you have to be before you feel it or not. I'm not getting 5G until yes, because if you stay on the 3G network, you will be safe from the earthquake. No need to explain this. People often freak out for anything. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, Tony, but people need reassurances, right? I mean, that's probably why you're tuning in now, is you want to know what's going on. I'm scared. Yeah. Well, I was freaked out. My family was freaked out. But this is a good place to be, because I'm the kind of I experience stress. You got to understand, when you take a trade and the trade goes against you and you lose money, your body reacts the same way as if you're in physical danger. So I'm really used to that feeling. And I can assure you that you guys are all capable of handling it if you just keep those things in mind, okay? There's possibilities that bad things can happen, but we have a plan and we can handle them, and we just follow through on our plan and we're going to be okay. And after that point, what happens, happens. And then you can just be in the heat of the moment, and you can live through it, and you can do what you want to do during that moment. Part of it is just accepting that what happens, happens. Is it true to go to the nearest public school? I haven't heard anything like that. Let's just check. I haven't seen anything coming through from the news, really. Okay, U.S. Geological Survey map showing the size and scale of the impact along the Wasatch Front and how far away it could be. Oh, thank you, KSL. That is exactly what we wanted to see. Hold on a second. Let me open that one in a new tab so I can show you guys that. Okay, so there was the epicenter. It looks like that you're going to feel it all the way through the Wasatch Front, but that once you get past Provo, you're not going to feel it nearly as strong. So I was still well in there in Salt Lake, and I'm right somewhere in here, right? So I think that I was still kind of in the worst of it. Thanks for the cover. I'm still very shaken up. Yeah, I know. Well, your body is so that's another thing that I think is kind of we don't understand is like we think because I'm having a physical reaction to it that's really bad. Let me tell you a story. My son was born. My wife has had 3 kids, but it was my first. We've both been divorced and remarried. Her previous partner was gay, and my previous partner was just a little impulsive, and so we both got divorced, remarried. She's already had 3 kids, but then we finally had and we had to try it for a while, but we finally had a baby in January. So yes, thank you, and you're all congratulate you. Thank you very much. And when the baby was being born, they're like, okay, we need you to hold her legs out. And they were a little concerned because he was not turning the right way. At first he was head up, and we had to do a procedure to make him be head down. But then when we got there, he wasn't positioned right. He wasn't like face down or face up. He was on the side. So they were concerned about him coming out. And then when he started coming out, the umbilical cord was around his neck, and he just wasn't coming out fast enough. I remember sitting there, they're like, hold her leg. And I'm looking at the womb, and I can see this little thing of hair. He had a lot of hair. And the doctor is like, okay, I'm going to cut. She didn't even question. Like, you could tell that this lady, she did this all the time, and she just starts cutting away. And yeah, I passed out. Guys. When my son was born, I passed out. And you think like, oh, it's super embarrassing. And I mean, it is embarrassing, of course. But the thing is that we can have physical reactions to things, and you don't have a whole lot of control over it. And when something happens like that, you just kind of have to accept it I have a valgus nerve that's really easy to trigger, when it's blood and stuff like that. And it doesn't bother me mentally, but it makes me pass out all the same. I can be totally normal like this, and then all of a sudden I just feel dizzy and I pass out. And so you might have some sort of adverse physical reaction to the stress of an earthquake. And you would think like, oh, that's like really bad. I shouldn't feel this way, and it's really bad that I feel this way, and I need to do something about it. But the reality is that's just your body, and just feel the feeling and understand what it's like and be like present for that feeling, because there's nothing you can do about it. Remember, what happens, right? That aftershock caused me to hit my head on the stove. Wow. Yeah, well, when that larger aftershock happened, I was kind of thinking like, okay, do I? Nope. I mean, a lot of you guys were here, right? How big was it, Kenneth Thomas? It was 5.7. I have a picture up here of the scale of it. I wonder, can I see that? Can I see that larger? Open image in new tab. Yeah. How come it's not? Yeah. I guess that's full size, but there's the image of the epicenter, so you can kind of see where they fell. You can see that if you go into Utah Valley, because of the mountains there, it didn't nearly as much, but people could still feel it all the way up into, like, look, the state line. How big was it in West Jordan? Yeah, so the 5.7, and it happened in Magna, so the closer you were to that. The 4th is fusing today. I should minimize this so that we can still see the tweets. Huh? Okay. No, like the epicenter was in Magna, so it was 5.7. You should check the tectonic waves. I'm paranoid. Rackley, Fed announced more than doubling the base currency, currently at 3.5 trillion and outstanding, and they're going to increase it to 5 trillion. Wow. Well, the financial system needs the money right now, man. Rackley. But we're still freaked out about the earthquake. Man, see, the funny thing is I started out today because we've been having some crazy things going on in the markets, and my specialty is futures, and futures are like really dysfunctional right now. Like they're hitting 5% limit overnight, and it's like a really big problem. So I was like, we need to have a discussion about this. This is like the CME needs to do something, and I had like this great intro for everything and a good title, and I was planning on going out and posting it on a couple of the forums and stuff to see what people thought about my ideas and everything. So I was going to push it with that. And then the earthquake happened. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're talking about, I guess today's video is about the earthquake. Is there going to be another earthquake? Sherry asks, so the probability that we will have another earthquake that is larger in the near future is extremely low. At this point, it is extremely low. However, you will probably feel small aftershocks up to 3 days afterwards. After the 3 days, then the probabilities of more shocks like really turn down. International Airport is non-operational after and closed after 5.7. Really, it's non-operational now. Oh, that's interesting. Not like anybody was going to be flying today anyways. Stores are going to be ever more hectic today. I don't know. I mean, so I have a question. Is there anybody here that they haven't gotten supplies because they are, trying to do social limiting and are now thinking, well, I need to go and buy more stuff? I hope that we're all prepared, but I'll tell you, we have like natural instincts. One of our instincts is going to be to hoard things, right? Like the reason that people do this is because like their ancestors, they hoarded, and because they hoarded, they lived. So it's like ingrained into their brain chemistry to go and hoard things, right? You don't need to hoard things. There's no supply chain disruptions, but do go to the store and buy the things that you need. Like if you're going to be home now and you have kids and you don't have enough food to feed them for lunch, then of course go and get stuff. But you don't need to go to the store and buy way more than you need and start hoarding stuff because you're not going to be able to get it in the future. That's just not the case, and that's just not going to happen. And if you feel that urge, what you should do is you should start thinking about what are some other things that I can do. Like maybe clean your house. Teach your kids the proper hygiene, safety. Like after the earthquake, I went up and I told everybody upstairs because they all woke up, this is what you do in an earthquake. There will probably be aftershocks, so just know what to do, right? You're doing things so that you feel like you have some control in the situation, right? So there's two answers to that. One is do something that's actually productive. Hoarding would not be productive. Or two, accept that there are certain things out of your control. Here we go with the aftershocks again. I'm not feeling anything right now, but it is definitely crazy. I'm in Orem and I can't feel these. Yeah, hey, Jay has because there's the mountain range in the way there, it can't get through the mountains, and so it was not nearly as severe going through there. Hold on a second. My thing is catching up here. Oh, so there's a lot of, some of my chat messages are a little bit delayed because I'm on West Valley and there's no aftershocks for me. Yeah, there was that bigger aftershock like what, 40 minutes ago, and I haven't felt anything since then. It's gotten really quiet. It's actually kind of a little eerie now that I think about it. Canyon Vlogs thinks that, hey, thank you for stopping in, guys. I enjoyed talking with all of you. Wow, we're almost up to 300, which is amazing. But I just always think, because normally we have like 30 people, and it's really the same guys that are here every day, because we trade together. And I'm always just like, because in my mind, there's nothing special about me. I'm just the guy that's dumb enough to stream it, you know what I mean? And I always feel like there are so many people of my regulars that are so smart and so much better traders than me. And I'm not necessarily deserving to be like a famous person or to have tons of people watching me, but to have y'all tune in and listen and talk to me, I'm extremely grateful, and I absolutely love it. And you're all just so wonderful. and I hope that some of the things that I was able to tell you about today are helpful to you guys. Because an event like this can really be like, maybe this not so bad, but a traumatic event can really ruin you. You know what I mean? And knowing how to deal with it can make you stronger. So I'm hoping my idea here is I tell you these things, and these things will make you stronger. So I hope you found it useful. I'm in West Jordan, and there's replicas happening. Yeah, Aftershocks. I'm really close to where it was in SLC, top floor of an apartment, and was swaying. My bed was really shaking, and things flew off the wall. Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet you being in a tall building would be kind of scary. How can a man in China tell us what to do? The ground cracked. If you guys have pictures of the ground cracked, I want to see that. Let's see does KSL have anything? Oh, video from damage inside the airport. So there was damage at the airport. I'm just looking here. It's just like water. So it looks like some water broke and stuff like that. Oh yeah, the airport had some water lines break. Interesting. Salt Lake, due to the earthquake, we will not be able to provide meals, food boxes, or laptops today. We'll send an update when we're able to resume. Man, with here in Davis County, they're supposed to be starting the online learning stuff, and then this happens. Like, what a holy crap, right? Timing couldn't be worse. Preliminary feeds. Okay, so there is an application you can install on your phone called Quake Feed that will show you the aftershocks. Interesting. I don't see anything like serious damage. So KSL is retweeting some stuff like, here's somebody's chandelier swaying. Man. Is this how Doom Eternal starts? You know what? If it was actually, I wish it was, because if the Doom Slayer was the one that we were all relying on for our safety, I would feel safe. Because the past couple, I'm a financial guy, and I kind of looked at that $1 trillion stimulus thing, and I'm like, you guys really have no clue what to do, right? Do you? I don't think anybody does. We're just like, with the coronavirus thing, there's going to be entire new branches of economics because of the coronavirus, because we don't know how to deal with it. But if I could put my trust in the Doom Slayer, I would do it, because he would get the job done. Let's go to Narnia, boy. Right. $1 trillion. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it, because they're like saying they're going to give it to people. I'm like, you realize there's 300 million people in the United States, right? Like, $1 trillion is a ton of money. The birds chilling in the back. So my birds would usually be, I have sun conures, which are very loud, and they would normally be like screaming super loud and stuff by now. But they're just chilling. They're okay. Did buildings actually collapse? I've been looking around to see, and I have not seen anything to indicate that there was severe structural damage. The worst thing that I've seen is that some water lines broke in the airport, and so the airport is closed at the moment. Farmland securities, everything. Yeah, we're all fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Are you fine? I'm feeling good. I'm happy. No. Well, I feel pretty positive right now. We'll say. Hold on a second. Dentists will always have jobs. I'm gonna have to pop this chat out over here. Well, fault line, yeah, it was Yeah, I don't know. Is Yellowstone going to erupt because of this? No, they're not. Any of this is gonna hit Yellowstone. I mean, you can see the map right here, right? Pretty much wasn't felt beyond the state lines. A lot of traffic, though. My dentist was closed. Yeah, and it's very unlikely that we'll see another aftershock that's worse. Especially now that we've had a couple of aftershocks that are smaller and everything else like that. So everything is kind of calmed down. Was it 2.5 in some other states? Yeah, I'm sure that probably on the state lines they could fill it a little bit. But you got to realize that 2.5 is like very, very light. You're the geological expert. No, I am not. I should. You know what? You're right. I should preface those things by saying I am not a geological expert. I am just reading information from experts and relating it over to you. And I can do that because I'm awake early and most of you guys aren't. You're still getting ready. So yeah, our understanding is at this moment is that the chances of a stronger aftershock are very low now. If it gets to an 8 or higher, will Yellowstone erupt? Maybe. I don't know. The thing is there's these mountains. It seems to me, based on this picture, that the shocks don't travel as far with the mountains in the way. That the mountains kind of dampen it. So for it to get all the way to Yellowstone, it would be hard. But hey, you know what? Yellowstone might erupt someday. I'm more concerned about the big one. You know what I mean? Like maybe this was the warning. Like, hey guys, you need to earthquake-proof your home a little bit better because the big one's coming. Where the valley floor gets liquefied. But not today. Not today. That was scary. All I heard was a loud banging like gunshots, and then my bed started shaking. You know, I did not hear anything. The only thing that I heard was the parts of my house shaking. But it was something else. Hey, John, they're going to give the $1.2 trillion to big pharma, weapons manufacturers, airlines, and the little guy will be lucky to see $100. Yeah. You know what, John? So I don't know if you were just tuning in, but we had an earthquake in Utah, right? John is probably one of my best friends. He's here almost every day, and he's much older and more experienced and better trader than me, so he gives me a lot of advice. Probably, if anybody's a mentor, it's John. And we were talking yesterday because the 30-year Treasury dropped like 10 points, and I really freaked out about it. And so we're talking about this stimulus. We really need to talk about the stimulus because, like, man, what's going to happen? I don't know. But we had an earthquake, so that's why we have so many people viewing today. Is we're talking about the earthquake, John. Yeah, absolutely. You know that I consider you a good friend. I'm glad I'm not the only one freaking out. I'm starting to calm down now thanks to this stream. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad it helps. It really is like your body is geared to be freaked out by that sort of a thing. So somebody earlier was asking, are you going to take any trades? Hell no. I would only make myself look like an idiot if I tried to take a trade right now, because I am in a different emotional state than what is needed for trading. All the steel beams at our work site are bent and warped? Really? Wow. Rose, do you usually stream when stuff like this happens? Well, yeah. So what I do is I'm a futures trader. So I trade financial markets, and I start my stream every day at 6:20 Eastern time because that's when the treasuries start trading. That's what I specialize in is fixed income treasury futures. So I'm always awake and streaming, and we do politics and news. We talk about politics a lot. I'm trying to avoid talking about politics right now because I know that you guys probably aren't super interested in that, but normally we're talking about politics. So yeah, anytime that there's breaking news in the morning, I'm here and we can talk about it. And since it was in Utah and you could see, I mean, come back, like save the video URL, come back after we finish streaming, and you'll be able to see the moment. And I have a clock down in the lower right corner. Do you see that clock down there? So the earthquake happened about 7:09. So you could just, go back and rewind the tape and you can see my face when I realized that we were having an earthquake. How long do we need to wait until we can go back to what we were doing? So Oliver, you can definitely go back to what you were doing, but just know your earthquake precautions, right? If there's an earthquake, get next to a large object, like a dresser or a chest, so that if the roof collapses in on you, it will land on the dresser and not you. But at least Utahns were justified in hoarding toilet paper. No. Let me show you a picture about that, by the way. Oh my gosh. This is so funny. I should post, let me post it on my other one. Hold on a second. Oh, I was already awake when it happened. Yeah, I was like, we were going for a good hour, 20 minutes or so. I have this picture. Let me show it to you. About toilet paper. It's freaking hilarious. Yes, is trading inside yesterday's range so far? Okay, yeah. I have to say I'm pretty happy with market action so far. Just that, like, we didn't go down to 7%. We're actually above the -5%. That's good. My friend on the toilet, and I think he caused it, dude. You're hilarious. Everybody stop buying the toilet paper. Yeah, let me reiterate. I know it's an instinct for people to hoard, but there's no reason to hoard. You need to understand that those feelings are irrational. Doesn't mean that you're bad for feeling them. Like understand and accept what your psychological profile and neurochemistry is, but also realize that it's irrational. You don't need to hoard toilet paper. There are no supply chain issues. There was no real damage. They're going to fix a couple of pipes over at the Salt Lake airport and everybody's fine. So we're all good. I'm glad I wasn't in school for this because teachers be yelling at us to hide. Oh, I know. Your teacher would be like freaking out, I'm sure. Oh, man. Okay, hold on a second. Let me find it. Here we go. I'll post. Hopefully I can just like link you guys the picture about toilet paper. It was shaking a lot in Ogden. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised to see that, it was a lot. It was diminished up by Ogden, but it sounds like that you guys still felt it pretty strongly. So there we go. No. So I have it here on my Facebook page. So I have a Speculator Seth Facebook page, but here's the toilet paper thing. I bet you peasants wish you could afford my lifestyle. That was the most hilarious picture. I posted it on my Facebook page because maybe some of you guys like that picture and you'd like to go and reshare it or something. So there you go. St. George got hit with a 5.9. When was that? Yeah, Drew Scott says we're so overdue for a huge one. That's the scary part. Yeah, so that's a thing that I'm still wondering, and I'm sure that we'll hear more about it over the coming days when the experts come out of the woodwork. Because right now, like, the news is like, okay, I need every earthquake expert in Utah stat, right? So we don't have them yet, but Does it having that earthquake give us more time now before the big one? Or does it mean maybe the big one is coming soon? Like, I don't know. Winder's cows providing milkshakes for today only. That's funny. I really like their milk. You know what? I got it when I was a kid, but I don't get it now. But I actually know the Winders fairly well because I'm pretty politically active, and I really like those guys. They're great people. We're all scared of COVID-19 and now earthquakes and aftershocks. I know, right? It's so stressful, man. Here's the thing: is like all of this stuff is going on. The chances of any of us dying from coronavirus pretty low. Of course, we still need to lock ourselves down because we don't want the hospitals to become overwhelmed, right? Because the problem is there's like a 20% hospitalization rate. That's the number that people have been missing. The death rate doesn't matter. The number of people that have to get medical help because of it matters. So we need to do everything we can to prevent the spread of it. But in the long run, probably most of us are going to get through this and it's going to be okay, right? Can you imagine what it must have been like for people that had to deal with real disasters? Like the San Francisco earthquake at the turn of the century? Oh man, have you ever seen pictures of that? Oh, let me show you. That was just crazy. Here you go. The San Francisco earthquake, it just absolutely demolished that city. It was just like so much was gone after that. Of course, they didn't have as good of building codes as we do nowadays. But, ooh, man, that was the San Francisco earthquake of 1906. I hope that we never have to deal with an earthquake that bad. I live in Utah and I've never experienced an earthquake in my entire existence. Well, Nano, but that's the thing, is you probably have experienced an earthquake, but it was so small that you didn't even feel or notice it. So I have this table and it kind of wobbles a little bit, and I feel earthquakes all the time. Just like really tiny ones though. So when it first started shaking, I was like, okay, maybe we're getting some, maybe a car drove by, maybe. But then it really started shaking and I was like, oh, do I need to do something? Why do you think I feel an earthquake? Well, I'm not feeling anything right now. It's been really stable, but probably there's going to be a lot of psychological after effects. So, you know, I really a believer in being present. You know, I had this a girl I met in the divorced time before I got remarried. That was introduced a book to me called Dear Sugar, I think it was. But they were all about being present, and I tell you what, that really helped me in my life. I forget what is the word they call conscientiousness, and just like you're in this moment, you're panicked. It's an adrenaline rush. Like just sit and savor that feeling and be in the moment for a little bit. Because you're safe. You don't need to worry about dying. I promise. We're all okay now. just you know, mindfulness. Practice some mind. Now is a great time to practice some mindfulness and kind of catch your bearings and say, okay, that was an experience. It's laggy. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have had dropped a couple of frames today for some reason. Probably because the markets are a little bit crazy, but at some point I need to get a new video card that has a better encoder in it. But we've been doing okay without it. Will there be a bigger earthquake today or in a couple of days? Yep. I know some of you guys that have already been here, you're like, oh, stop, Hans. But for new people, I want to answer the question. Probably not. There was like a 10-15% chance that you'd have an earthquake that's stronger, but we've had aftershocks now that were smaller. And so the chances of like a bigger, more dangerous earthquake are diminished, but it's still a possibility. So just be aware of the possibility, but know your safety precautions. I think we all do now, right? but get next to a sturdy, like a table or something like that, and be right next to it. Don't be necessarily under it, because if you're under it and that collapses, then that's collapsing on top of you, and that's not good. But something so that if something does fall down from the ceiling, it will fall on that dresser and not you. And that's it. We're good. And teach your children. Is it racist to call this a Utah earthquake? Just refer to it as an earth tremor and leave it at that. Oh man, you know what, Orlando, on a normal day, I would engage with you on that, because I love the politics. I mean, I'm a pretty conservative guy, but I tried to take it from the perspective of analyzing what's happening so that we can use it in our trading. And I just love that sort of a thing, but probably not today, because not everybody is interested in that. Why this wasn't expected? Yeah, I sure wasn't. Imagine me, like I was saying earlier, my original title for this video was the futures market are broken, please fix. Like, I was planning on, it was supposed to be one of a big video that I was going to try and push around, and then this earthquake thing happens. So when you go back and watch the video, you go watch my rant about the problems with the market, but that was, man, it just like, that's all anybody's going to talk about today. I wonder, I should check up in here on my work. So if I go to Slack, I work for a healthcare exchange. What are they saying? With the earthquake, for those in Utah, we want to make sure people are okay. There are reports of some colleagues being without power. Please let me know your situation, and if you're affected, I hope everyone is safe. Caught it on video. I didn't know what to do. I just moved to Salt Lake a year ago. What measures should us newbies who've never experienced this before do? Okay, so, well, now that you've felt it, anytime you feel the ground shake, you're going to be thinking, earthquake. There's going to be aftershocks, probably still, but they're probably going to be much smaller. But again, you want to create a triangle of safety. Let's draw a picture. This is something that I heard from an expert. There's differing opinions on what to do during an earthquake, but let me just explain. If you have a table like this, okay, and then something falls on the table, right, like this rubble, and here's you, okay, and what's going to happen? This chair leg is going to break, and then the table is going to be on top of you. You're dead, right? So what we want to do instead is create a triangle of safety so that when it collapses, here's the collapsed table and here's you. Okay, so you'll be squished and here's the rubble. And here's this triangle of safety and you're safe. Okay? So that's one thing about earthquake safety. You want the danger is, I mean, most earthquakes aren't going to like completely collapse everything, okay? But the danger is that something is going to fall off the wall and hit you in the head, or it's going to cause enough structural damage that the roof is going to come and hit you in the head. So that's kind of your concern, right? So you want to be next to something that will break the fall of that thing falling on you, but not so that if that thing collapses too, that thing is collapsed on top of you. Okay. So you're saying today isn't the day to use the sunglasses and to cut the mullet? No, what? Listen, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of mullets, but if you have a mullet and you rock it and you enjoy having a mullet, then more power to you, man. Don't cut it because of an earthquake. That wouldn't make any sense at all. JC, another one is going to happen maybe in like 2 hours. I'm sure, my understanding is that you're likely to see aftershocks for the next 3 days. So Yeah. Is anyone else crazy about Tesla cars, or is it just me? You know what? I asked my wife if I could get a Cybertruck. Listen, Elon, if you're listening, I mean, normally you wouldn't be listening, but maybe today, you see my stream linked and you're listening. If you could get me a Cybertruck, Elon, I would really appreciate it, because my wife botched the idea. She's like, "No, you can't get a Cybertruck." I was totally down with it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it looks ridiculous. I think it looks absolutely ridiculous, but I would still love to have it. I would still love to have it. Just don't go box dye your hair. YouTube is not the place to ask these questions. At this point, I would just be prepared. Yeah, no, you're Shorty Penguin. You're totally right. Like, I want to be really clear, and we've said this a couple of times. I am not an earthquake expert. I am up and awake, and I have the time, and I'm a fast Google searcher. And we went and we found some information. After this, you should go and do a little bit of research on your own about what is correct to do during an earthquake, for sure. I am definitely going to be thinking about a couple of things, like this hutch behind me. If it was any more than that, that whole thing could have fallen down, and that could have been ugly. So I think that we need to anchor that to the wall. Hey, maybe this could be a good time to increase the earthquake safety of our home now that we've been scared a little bit, huh? But my thinking right now is still like, well, we had an earthquake. It's pretty scary. And let's deal with the psychological aftermath of that. And so the first thing that I think we need to do is we got to reassure ourselves that everything is okay. You have the fancy screens. You are the Earth Pro. I wish I could show you. I would have to take my camera off the thing and unscrew it, and it would be really hard. But I have 3 27-inch monitors. Because I trade, and I need 2 monitors. Maybe you can. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can't really see it, but I have 3. Because we do what we normally do on this channel is trading. So I need one for my charts. I need one for my DOM. Here, I'll show you the other screen. Here's my charts. These are my charts that I normally use. Here's my main screen. And then I have another one. Where's my other one? Oh, I don't think I have it. Yeah. I don't have it on there anymore. To show you my communication screen, but all you would see is Discord and you guys. So yeah, I have 3 of them on there. So, but not only that, but I've always been like the techie guy, the know-it-all. That's why I tell you, my tendency, I'm a little bit more introspective than your normal person is, and it's not because I'm particularly smart or anything like that, but just like the market forces you to be. And I'm not necessarily a great trader or anything like that either, but one of my tendencies is to act like a know-it-all. So you guys are totally okay to keep me in check and remind us that, hey, you should do your own research and talk to experts too. That's totally cool. Why IDK? No, you asked the question and then you pulled it back, but it was a good question, IDK. And I understand we're talking about other stuff, but I think that one's important enough to cover, okay? And I'm going to show you guys here. Bear with us for a second, all right? So what he's talking about is that the S&P 500 is down and kind of choppy. Treasuries are normally inversely correlated. So when the stocks were going down, treasuries were going up. Same with ZP. ZP is more dramatic. But yesterday they went down. Why? My theory is that because the government is planning a $1 trillion stimulus, that is going to be a lot of paper hitting the market. And that's more supply in the treasuries, essentially. So when there's more supply than there is demand, what happens? It goes down. So the treasuries are getting hit hard because of this $1 trillion stimulus, and that's actually making rates increase a little bit, which is a really bad thing. If this trend continues, I'm really concerned about it, because the last thing that we need right now is for interest rates to start getting out of hand. But hopefully we're all okay. hopefully it's okay. But that's why I think that the inverse correlation is broken down. So all you guys listening that you don't normally talk about or think about market stuff, if in a couple of days they start talking about this, you go back and you say, oh yeah, speculator Seth, he was talking about that. He was concerned that the 30-year treasury fell 10 points in a day yesterday. That is concerning to me. That does not help the position, and that does not help the government deal with coronavirus. That increases interest rates. That's bad. So there's that. How much longer are the earthquakes? Coffee? About 3 days. You can still feel aftershocks usually. Now you can feel aftershocks after that. Somebody was saying that the longest period between two major shocks was like 2 years. Although I bet you in a case like that, there's probably some question about if those were two separate events or not. But after 3 days, the chances of you having significant aftershocks are significantly diminished. If this was like an 8.0 earthquake, they would be telling us, be aware for the next 3 days because there could still be another earthquake and we don't want you to get hurt from stuff falling. And especially when things are already hurt and then you get an aftershock, it can cause even more damage. Wikipedia says, hurry and buy a house. I tell you what, I would really like to buy some rental properties right now. I do have some savings from my tax return, but I don't know. I don't feel safe. I do Olympic weightlifting. And I want to buy my own weights, and I was planning on doing it with the yearly bonus, and I have it, and I'm like, I have it, everything in the cart and everything, and I'm like, but should I really do it? Because there's this coronavirus thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It says put that tax return into your account. Yeah. Well, I want to. I have money that we've made from the channel, that I need to put into my account, but I'm kind of holding off on it because I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know any way else to put it. This whole coronavirus thing, like the coronavirus itself, is a thing, but the economic damage that's happening from this and what's going to happen, I'm a little scared because I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm sitting here like, should I really be spending $1,000 on waves right now? I don't know. Buy it up. The gyms are shut down for the foreseeable. Yeah. Well, where I work out is basically somebody else's house. It's not like a public gym. But it's like I live in Centerville and it's way down in Sandy. It's like a 30-minute drive. And especially since I'm working from home right now, our company has told us to work from home. It would be really nice. It would be really nice to have the weights. So I think I should do it. I think I'm going to do that today. And we have, stuff elsewhere. Hit the like button. It helps. I put everything that we make from this YouTube, I put back into the stream. The whole thing is learning how to trade futures. And I really appreciate it. It's not like I deserve it or anything like it, but you guys are just so wonderful. Put the money into your account, let it work for you, then use that money to buy new weights. Yeah, no, this market, for those of you guys that aren't in the markets right now, moves so fast. It is just not safe for me to trade. If I had that money in there right now and I was actively trade it, I would have blown it all in a day. I could blow it all in a day. It's just that bad. Hey, so how in the hell did you get 216 people? He's laughing. Ace is here almost every day. Ace is a good friend. He lives down in he's in Utah. He lives down in Alpine, I believe. He knows why they're all here. He felt it too. But apparently, Ace, the mountains kind of dampened the impact. So what you felt was like maybe half of what I felt. Man. Toilet paper, hand sanitizer, bread will be the new monetary. The new monetary units. Oh man, what happened to my gosh, the picture? I'm telling you. Guys, there's plenty of toilet paper, okay? There's plenty of toilet paper. Freaking toilet paper, guys. Garlic bread will save me. Oh my gosh, Neck, I thought you were somebody else. So one of the other funny things that we do on this channel, aside from the robot speaking, which there's too many people talking right now to use the text to speech, but we talk about garlic coin. So garlic coin is what they call I'm pardon me for the language, but it's a shit coin. It's a technical term. Okay. So it's like a Bitcoin, but it's like a Bitcoin knockoff that's really, really awful. And so it was basically a scam. It was like this guy put it together and he made a bunch of money off of it and he left. So it's totally a scam, but I've been mining garlic coin and I own a significant position in garlic coin. So I thought that you were talking about garlic coin because the guys are always making fun and being like, what is wrong with you? Why aren't you spending? See, if he was here, he would be saying, Seth, don't buy weights with that money. You need to buy more garlic coin. We are the end game. I tell you what, it sure feels like that it's the end of days, right? People have been calling for the end days since the beginning days. Yeah, there you go. Air Cages, there he is. Don't listen to Seth. We're all in garlic coin. We love it. Hey, listen, if you want a really speculative, something super speculative, okay? If you just bought even like $20 worth of garlic coin, you can move garlic coin price. I'm just saying. So that's how worthless it is right now. So if you just buy $20 worth of garlic coin, and then maybe I don't have very good hopes for Bitcoin in the near future, but maybe in a couple of years they bottom out and they're in a better situation and they move up and there's another great Bitcoin rush bubble, whatever. And maybe they decide to pump garlic coin. And if you own $20 of it now, when garlic coin came out, it was worth $1. Okay. And $20 of it will buy you like 1 million garlic coins. Okay. So if you want to become a millionaire, you know, there's your lottery ticket, garlic coin. Oh, Matthew, how are you today? Hey, I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm happy because there's lots of people in chat and that's always a fun experience. I really love my guys that I have in chat every day. Such a great, they are better traders than me. That's the real reason to subscribe to my YouTube channel, is to read the people that talk in my chat and see what they have to say about markets. But talking to a lot of people is a lot of fun. So thank you guys all for tuning in and talking to me and leaving your messages. And it's just great stuff. I experienced an earthquake like you. Yeah, it was great. I'm kind of excited to, I usually have to end at 9:30. So we got 15 minutes left here, but I'm excited. After that, YouTube will process the video and then it will be available again like 20 minutes later. Oh, I just got a buy. That's interesting. Hold on a second. Just looking at the markets, they kind of gave me a buy and then got creamed. That was an interesting one. Did you see that one, Ace? Anyways, wait a second. If you're 12, I thought YouTube terms said that only 14-year-olds and older can use YouTube. Attaboy. No. So that's, let me explain to you the situation with that. There is an application for kids to use to watch YouTube called YouTube Kids. And if you're under the age of 14, you're supposed to be watching YouTube with the YouTube Kids app. I have 3 kids. They're like 12, 9, and 8, okay? They don't use the YouTube Kids app, right? The stuff that they want to see on the YouTube Kids app it's not there. The stuff that they want to see, they find it on the regular app. So they watch the regular YouTube. Well, the thing is that there's a law that says that you cannot do targeted advertising to kids. And you know what? I agree. I do not want my kids having targeted advertisements sent to them where They analyze their behaviors and figure out the way to best influence my kids into doing something, and then they send them an advertisement for that. I'm not okay with it. So they made a rule, but there's problems with it, and I don't know how to resolve it, but the way that YouTube decided to do it is if it's content that's intended for kids, we're not going to show targeted advertising on it. So kids can still be on YouTube. This channel is not for kids. We do serious financial stuff. So my videos are not marked as for kids. So that's not a problem for me. But, you know, anybody that was doing kids content, it's kind of a problem because they're not going to make as much money. Seth is going to make so much ad money from this stream. I don't know. When I had the fire happen on the mountain and I posted video of that, we got a lot of views on it. But the thing that you got to realize is that you regulars, you guys that are trading, are worth so much. I mean, you're so smart, and you know, even one of you become a customer for one of those advertisers, you can potentially be thousands of dollars. Whereas people checking in for the earthquake, don't get me wrong, you guys are very valuable, especially to me. But to those advertisers that usually advertise on my channel, not as much. So probably we get a lot of views on the video, but the how much you make per view is not as much. But we'll see. I'm excited. You always get a bump though. You get After Effects and you get subscriptions, and YouTube kind of picks up on like, oh, people are watching this. So it's great. But in my mind, it's mostly just, I just love meeting new people and talking to people. I tell you what, I was divorced for 2 years or so. And the thing that I miss about being divorced is dating. Not like the process of dating and not being in a relationship. I don't like that. And I really like, my wife is like the most stable person in the world. Like if she's freaked out about something, like it's really freaked, but she is extremely emotionally stable. She was actually going to be a psychologist, but she didn't, you have to get a master's and all that. But she would probably make a really good therapist if she had decided to go into that, right? That's my wife. And I really, really like that. But the thing that I miss is just meeting new people every day. Because with Tinder and stuff, you can literally, you just swipe right, man. And, you can fill every night of the week. And in Utah, especially, people are willing to date seriously, right? So I would just go until I had my week filled. And I was meeting lots of people, and I loved doing that. And now, I'm married, but I get to do it through streaming, and I get to met some new people today, and we got to talk on our. I tell you what, this stream just makes my whole week. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Is there going to be another one? So there is going to be Aftershocks, but the chances of there being a larger earthquake in the near future is significantly diminished now. So maybe 15% of the time there can be a bigger one, but we've already had aftershocks that are less. So the chances are pretty low. I think that we're all pretty safe right now. Attaboy, 173. Yeah, where did we get to? At one point we were like into 200s, I think. But then I started talking about finance again. Yeah. At one point we got to 309. Wow. That's so great. And some of you guys, I can see you in chat. You've been here almost the whole time, so thank you. The E-Mini has taken a pretty good dive here. David was asking if we were close to the circuit. I don't know where the circuit breaker is, but maybe they touched it on the open. I'm not so sure. 42? Yeah, we are pretty close. A TV almost fell on me. Oh my gosh, Nick, I'm so glad that you're okay. I've heard a couple of reports from you guys about damage, but nothing too bad. Just like some windows and everything. There's some damage at the airport, of course. Silver alpaca corn. I don't know. A little scared. Yeah. No, listen, we're all scared. I mean. I kind of got a little bit of a rise from the adrenaline, and now that I know that we're pretty safe. But yeah, it's natural to be scared. I mean, that's ingrained into you and into your brain that earthquakes are scary because they are dangerous. and your ancestors experienced them and passed that on to you in their genes. Daniel was in the earthquake too. Yeah, it was crazy. Utah's always been due for a big one, however, it's unlikely to have another one so close. Okay, I'm getting a public safety alert on my phone. Salt Lake Valley experienced a 5.7 earthquake with multiple aftershocks. This is an evolving situation. Multiple agencies are coordinating the response. Damage assessments are being performed by public safety agencies valley-wide. All areas of possible impact being monitored. If possible, shelter in place, limit travel, monitor television for updates. Good advice. I would not recommend, if you are not already been told to work from home, I would talk to your work about being able to work from home, or if you should be going out today. I don't think that there's really any danger, but from a public safety standpoint, it's probably better that we don't have everybody all over the place. So that's what the government said. And I think that they have good reasons to do stuff. So we live on a thin crust over magna. Yeah. What is, if that's an earthquake, what is the big one going to be like? Man, I feel like I need to do I need a better table, Ace. This table, it's like an IKEA table. With that, I think I need something a little bit wider, a little bit more stable, because I thought I was going to have to save my camera. I was sleeping in a blanket fort, and there were 4 10-pound weights above me, Silver. Oh my gosh. You are so lucky. Oh man. Now every time that the kids make a blanket fort, that's what I'm going to be thinking is like, is this fort earthquake safe? I don't think it is. Never is. The data says there's been 12. Yeah, there's been a lot of aftershocks, that's for sure. There's been a lot of aftershocks. Oh, I haven't, in my earthquake, my Twitter is not updating. There we go. Dude, we should all had bobbleheads and film them, right? Well, I was streaming live when it happened, Texas Longhorns. Because I stream every day from about 6:20 my time to usually 9:30 my time. Because I'm working from home, I can stream a little longer. We'll probably be shutting down here in 5 minutes. But yeah. So you can come back and watch the video when it's reprocessed, and you can rewind and use the little clock at the bottom to figure out which time it was, because it happened at 7:09. So come back and watch it at 7:09 and you can see my face. Oh man, I've only felt so far each time my heart stops a little. Well, I only felt one or two that was big. But I've definitely felt like dozens of little ones. You have your whole life. I'm 30. I will die before you. See, I'm 34. I'm going to turn 35 this year in May. Man. I felt little earthquakes, but this is the most notable thing. This may be the most notable thing to happen in Utah my whole life. I think the only thing that maybe comes close was the floods when I was a baby. I worried what people will think of this. They are not in Utah. Yeah, well, most places it'll probably just be a little footnote because there wasn't that much damage or anything. Were you streaming during the earthquake? I was streaming during the earthquake. Yep. I was asleep when I bet a lot of people were. I bet, like a lot of people were either sleeping or like in the shower, right? So that's interesting. Man. It definitely has water all over the airport. Yeah, apparently the pipes in the airport were damaged. So, that's not like buildings collapsing, but that's still significant damage. First the coronavirus, now this, right? Man, I don't know if we can handle much more stress, guys. I really hope that the economy holds and doesn't fall apart here, because, man, how much more can we take? The last thing this generation needs is a depression. That isn't a flood, it's a leak. Yeah, it's just a little leak. They'll clean it up and fix it, and everything will be good and going tomorrow. Everything's good. It rattled all of us. Oh yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, so if you guys missed that earlier part, I think I want to go over it again, and then it'll be about time to shut down. But, you know, you're going to have emotional reactions to it, because there are parts of your brain that are essentially there to record emotional memories and then react when they happen again. That's how, like, PTSD happens, right? So your brain's going to remembers what it's like to feel an earthquake, and it will react before you even realize it. Before your frontal cortex has the time to even process that, it's going to react. So just be aware of that. It's not bad to feel those things. You think, oh, I'm panicked. That's a bad thing. I shouldn't feel panicked, or I should feel bad from being panicked. No, just realize that's your brain chemistry. Earthquake is really scary. It absolutely is. So now is a really good time to practice some mindfulness. Just savor that feeling, because you're safe now. The risks are very low. Okay, the government does say shelter in place, but I'm just telling you, based on the information that we have, that the risk of anything else bad happening is pretty low. So, you know, understand the safety precautions that you need to take, but you can take this time and just kind of be mindful about it and feel what it is like to have lived through an earthquake. And, you know, since nothing happened, it's a little thrilling for me. For me, I feel like I had that adrenaline rush, and then I had a ton of people come into my stream and talk to me about it, which is just like this huge dump of dopamine. Like, it feels great, but it's just an interesting set of feelings, isn't it? And it is scary. Every time that aftershock comes, I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Yeah, people have said they felt it in Idaho and Wyoming. Yeah, we had do we still have it up here? Here's a little picture that shows where the aftershocks, how far it went out. So you can see that people could feel it really far away, but, you know, there would just be like little tiny rattles. So even people in Utah Lake, just based on that diagram of how much more diminished it was past point of the mountain, wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of you guys over in Utah Valley that slept through it. I got seasick standing in my kitchen? Really? I don't know. I mean, I remember it shaking a lot. I remember the floor shaking a lot, but it was like, I don't know, it was weird. Being in an earthquake is weird, man. It woke up everyone in my family. Oh yeah, all my kids were awake. Yeah, when you watch on replay, you see I went upstairs and I had to, I don't know if you can hear me, but we had to calm everybody down. Yeah. This ghost saying, yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling. Win, there you are. How are you? We haven't seen you in a couple of days. Yeah, so Win is one of our most dedicated followers. In fact, she's probably going to tell you guys all to hit the like button right now. I always forget to tell people, hey, hit the like button. It helps the channel out. And by the way, it really does. If you hit the like button, it helps the YouTube algorithm say that you like this content, and it'll be more likely to recommend this content to other people. So when you hit that like button, it really helps me out a lot. And she always reminds me to say that. But yes, when we're totally okay. So if you come back and watch the video on replay, there was an earthquake about 7:09 my time. So you can see on the clock, you can just fast forward until you get to 7:09. You can see my face during an earthquake. I bet it's funny. My sleeping schedule is off. Will everyone please take a quick not earthquake to hit like? Thanks, you see. You're so great, Winston. I'm in like uber grateful mode because there's been so many people have come through today, and I've just really enjoyed talking to them. But you can hear my voice is starting to go, and my face is getting tired from smiling so much and laughing. It's you ever get that, like when you're out with friends and you laugh so much and your face is tired? That's how I feel right now. I heard it's another 17.2. Is it true? It was 5.7. 5.7. There's at least 30,000 people without power in Salt Lake. Wow. Well, I'm wondering what's going to happen with work, if any work is even actually going to get done today. Because I finished one project that I was working on. I'm really happy. I worked hard and I finally got that thing fixed. And now I'm ready to pick something up. And today is the worst day to pick something up. But I'm gonna try and be productive, because I feel like here at home when I get into something and I'm sitting here, I can just like dive right into it. I feel so productive. I mean, it's hard with the kids and everything, but once I get into the zone, man, I am totally in the zone here, and it's so hard to get that way at work. My parents are at work right now. Yeah, well, the alert that I got said shelter in place if possible. So if shelter in place means that you should just stay home. That doesn't mean that we're like in severe risk right now, but is what it is. Okay, guys, I have got to go. Thank you so much. Just, what's he saying? Everyone is live streaming is experiencing larger channel numbers. Yeah. And you have live streaming at the top. Yeah, I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but it's cool. Yeah, it said this terrifically smart and nice. Thank you. It's funny because I started the video out because it was supposed to be a video about the issues that we're experiencing in futures. And I started out like, I'm not the smartest guy or whatever, but this seems like a problem to me and I want to talk about it. And I was going to push that. And then that video ended up being about the earthquake. So I guess maybe more people end up seeing it because of that. I don't know. I hope so. But thank you guys. But my voice is really going, and it's been, I started at 6:20, so it's been 3 hours. So it is time for me to stop. I will see. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. I understand I do markets every day, so if it's not your thing, I don't see you again, that's totally cool, and I wish you the best. Everybody stay safe. Okay, make sure that you keep up with what's going on and that you follow the advice of your local leaders concerning stopping the spread of coronavirus. That's really important too, guys, all right? And for the rest of you regulars, and I'll see you tomorrow. You hit that subscribe button. Click the bell icon because I'm live every morning. So if you hit the bell icon, that's a lot easier to find the stream when we're live. I have a Patreon down in the link below that I post Bitcoin charts every day. Bitcoin's in some interesting places, and the indicator that I have there for Bitcoin is extremely effective at finding the tops and bottoms in Bitcoin. Obviously, it's a model, so it's never perfect, but I'm really, really proud of it. So, and people find it useful, and I'm really proud of that. So you can check that out. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.